ठीक है जी। So, Assalamu alaikum everyone. Thank you all for joining. This is again one of the very important learning sessions जो कि हम continuity में करवाते हैं. This time around is addressing the crucial topic of data privacy in protection and protection of the businesses. There is no denying the fact कि जो है वो with the ever increasing rise of cloud computing हो गया, advanced analytics, and especially now AI. Organizations are generating more and more data, and the biggest risk and the threat to risk is जो है वो of to the data is somebody invading them and somebody jeopardizing the data और privacy को compromise कर ले. Data privacy और data privacy की protection has become not just become some sort of a small जो है ना वो कोई एक डब्बे में रहने वाला risk है. It has become such big proportion पे जा चुका है. इसके consequences are both legal, regulatory भी हैं, legal भी हैं, compliance, financial हो गया, operational हो गया. So when ये तमाम risks जब आप merge कर लेते हो तो एक ही framework ज़हन में आता है, that is COSO ERM framework आ जाता है. So eventually data privacy is not just a simple risk, it's an enterprise risk. तो across the board organizations के enterprise risk registers जो हैं वो record data privacy as one of the key risks and key areas to handle and address. Obviously जो है वो you'd see plenty of regulations from regulators across the globe. इसमें GDPR regulations भी आएंगे across the companies, मुल्कों के regulations भी आएंगे, उसमें जितना भी PII डाटा है, पर्सनल डाटा है, इंडिविजुअल डाटा है, उसकी सैंक्टिटी और उसकी सिक्योरिटी बिकम्स एक्सट्रीमली इंपॉर्टेंट. सो मैं इस टॉपिक पे ज्यादा नहीं बोलूंगा बिकॉज वी हैव मिस्टर उमैर आरफीन विद अस. उमैर माशाल्लाह हैज carries decades of experience of internal auditing. He's working in Qatar right now. इनकी credentials जो है माशाल्लाह, CIS, CISA, SICA, you name it, and he has done it. Umair is also a board member of IIA Qatar, IIA Qatar's chapter, and he is a regular speaker and someone who delivers on bigger forums as well. I reached out and Umair volunteered to, facilitate for this session, to facilitate for this extremely important and vital जो topic है. इसके ऊपर IIA की latest guidelines भी आई हैं back in May 2026 on third edition आया था protecting data privacy and risks वगैरह. वो हमने ग्रुप में शेयर भी कर दिया था. बट without wasting any further time, I'll hand over the stage to Mr. Umair. Umair sir, please, the stage is yours and kindly please जो है ना वो enlighten us with all the knowledge you can share, please. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bilal. I think so. Your first part of the presentation, आपने everything को बहुत ही जिसको कहते हैं कि दरिया को कूजे पे बंद कर देना. You have done that part. So thank you. First of all, I would like to say thanks to the Evolve, Mr. Abdul Rauf, Mr. Bilal, for arranging this platform, arranging this seminar, webinar for all of us. So today the topic is protecting data and protecting business. So we were talking about auditing privacy, data protection, and AI risk. I always start and focus a lot on the learning objective. Like now, for the next 60 to 90 minutes, what you guys will be taking from this webinar. So there are four key takeaways that you will be expecting from me that we will be sharing insights together. So first is understanding the internal audit role in privacy, data protection under the AI environment. Learning the emerging privacy and AI risk. As Bilal has just now mentioned that, yes, IIA has also released a specific guidance for this. So we will be covering that and other framework like COSO, and there are multiple of them. So exploring the key privacy frameworks, there are a lot, but what are applicable for us? What are the key takeaways from them? And then some practical example across the industries that we will be discussing during this webinar. So before I start this webinar, I want to go through with one of the story that is really very relevant with what we will be discussing today actually. A very strong woodcutter went to a timber merchant asking for a job and he got the job. He was very excited, very motivated at the first day that yes, I got the job. I am very powerful. I can do amazing job. On his first day, he noted that yes, he has cut around 18 trees. Amazing, outstanding than anyone else in the team. Congratulations
मैं
on the way. Yes,
की वॉइस चली गई थी
Bilal,
ना. It's fine. It's fine now. Your voice went. I mean,
it's
अब
fine now.
ठीक है. It's
Chale,
fine.
perfect, perfect. No, please do interpret. So, because I have ensured that I have a good Wi-Fi connections and everything, but still, if you note anything, so please, Bilal or anyone else, do interrupt me. So his manager says congratulations, and he was very motivated that his boss on his first day said congratulations and things are very amazing. Keep it up. He was very motivated, ready for the next day. But what happened on the next day? He only was able to cut 15 trees. Okay, he was again discussed with his manager. Manager say no issue, keep it up, do hard work. But days by days, he noted that he was bringing less trees. And then he again reported to his manager. And he was saying he was feeling bad from core of his heart that he was unable to do that job that on his first day he brought around 18 trees and now he is bringing less than 10 trees actually. And he is working even sometime more times actually. So he was saying, I am sorry, I cannot understand what is going on. Then his manager asked a question, which is a reality for many of us. You guess this question actually. He asked, when was the last time you sharpened your axe? And the answer was very surprising. Sharpen, really? I had no time to sharpen my axe. I have been very busy in trying to cut the trees. See, this is the reality with many of us, unfortunately, even not only for the internal auditors, globally, all the professions. Yes, we start with our education, learning, and development, and then we move to the corporate world where we are just busy in trying to deliver something. I would say something like here. So, this is like the dilemma which are right now, we are. But many of you might know Stephen Covey. Actually, see this webinar. So believe me, this is not a YouTube recording. So I think so. Right now we have around 18 participant people will be joining, and we have the chat platform. So I want all of you to be very engaged. Okay, as I again mentioned, this is not a YouTube recording where you cannot ask anything. So I want you from your side. Okay, if anyone knows about Stephen Covey and his famous book, so please, I want to know how many of you knows him or which book he has written. I have given you a big clue actually. Anyone who can just guess which book he has written. Yes, Bilal, amazing. So, seven habits of highly effective people. See, I always engage myself in reading books. Okay, so these are amazing. So please keep this habit all. Also, I saw Adnan also mentioned the same seven habits of effective pupil. Also, big book, but you can find a very small. I think so 8 page summary which was available. If you even if you will Google it. So he highlighted, effective. There were seven habits. One of habits he have highlighted for corporates that corporates are always busy in the urgent things, like those things which are prominent, physical things, which are meetings, report, deadlines, our internal audit reports. Okay, so we are very busy over this, which gives us physical output, and we are really motivated from these things. But he highlighted the other thing which is important, like which is little bit backside, it's never on the front, like learning skills, future development, like when we are working on our any certifications, any of the attending the webinar, any of okay learn talking to the people who can give us more ideas. So one thing I am very happy right now, there are 18 people out of we were discussing within the group, we have around more than 1,000 people. You 18 people are the one who really within the even Stephen Covey, you are focusing on what is important. See this webinar or any other webinar actually, this is not mandatory for you. What you will get in the end is a 2 CP certificate, and believe me, there are many ways to even get CP certificates. For of majority of you, CP certificate is not what brings you here. What brings you here within your Saturday, okay, within out of your family time, is you want to learn about something. What I personally, you will find me in majority of the webinar, even if this any seminar in my geographic area, I always attend that. Because what happens usually when you are in the webinar, the speaker, either from the consultant background or either from the industry background, they deliver within 1 hour or 2 hour their key takeaways from their whole life, from their 20 years of experience. What are the more important things? So you will learn those things, and these things really are important, and these things shape your future. because those who are not doing, those even who have only done their certification part but they don't have that experience, so next day when you will be in your office, when you will be discussing, by default you don't know, but you will be by default on the upper. So again, first of all, I would like, now we have around 19 people. Again, this is not a YouTube video, this is like a webinar. There is a clapping options in the React. I want all of us to go in the React option and clap for all of us. Great. Amazing. I think so. This is going very interactive. On my left hand side, actually, I have a screen, so I am seeing so that this is more interactive. Whatever even you are writing in the chat box, I can also see it here. Thank you so much. Now, this is one of the, I would usually say, useless slide. Okay, anyone who want to go on a 1 minute break to having a tea, coffee, or anything, please you can do. This is I will be speaking about myself. So my name is Mohammad Umair Arfin. So currently I am the Internal Audit Manager, which is I am reporting to the audit committees. So I am Chief Audit Executive and Audit Committee Secretary. As Bilal also introduced, I am the Alhamdulillah, I am the board member of IIA Qatar. And my role is to deliver the seminars, webinar. So I am very active in hosting and as well as in delivering the seminar and webinar. Plus, as a part of the IIE Global, I am their content advisory group. So I am the key member of there. So I am writing many articles for them. Even I'm very glad that I have written an article for the data privacy, and actually which name is Data Asset, which is just posted yesterday from the IIE Global in their August magazine. So we will be discussing a little bit on there. So I have been featured in the April magazine as well. So I have written an article for the CAEs, and like quarterly, there is one article which I usually publish for the IIE Global. Plus, I have some Udemy courses for the internal audit. I am an author of book, Be the Internal Audit Champion in 60 minutes. So I always mention 60 minutes is not like 60 minutes. This is usually a theme that is used, that if you will find any book which is 60 minutes, mention it. It is very infographics. It summarizes things actually. So my book, what I have done, it all the experience, all the technical concepts of the internal audit, I have tried to make it in a very infographic manner. I have also written two books, which is co-author published in Amazon from one of the Indian publisher. One is about the supply chain, and the other one is about the business automation, actually. But that was a co-author. Plus, there are some certification. For me, certifications are very important. As I mentioned, these are something which are important. Okay, but I classify them into like five areas. One is certification within accounting, other one is internal auditing, then the one third one within internal auditing is the IT auditing, then more specialized into fraud and forensic, and the fifth one, which I am doing even right now within my PhD, is about the internal AI and data analytics. So this is a little bit about myself. Okay, but now what is more important for me is to know about you actually. And I really like this slide. So what I want from all of you, so now we have around 18 members. Just write your name within the chat. Okay, that my name is Omer. I work in retail industry and I have this much 10 years of experience or 20 years of experience in internal audit, finance, or compliance. So Bilal, he has okay in ICT 20 years. Thank you so much, Bilal. Amazing. I want others also to be very active. Shahid. So this will also help me, in delivering, in making you more uh, insightful examples under your area also, and to know about you. Sadadullah, banking industry, 7 years, amazing. I hope right now we have all internal auditor, but if someone is other than internal audit, so please you can mention that. Mr. Iqbal, internal audit, 11 year of experience. Muzammil, refinery, amazing. We have some good examples for you in the end, which will be coming in the last stage. Okay, oil and gas, 16 years experience, 10 years in internal audit. This is amazing. So we always must say that, data is the new oil. And believe me, this is the new oil actually. Abdul Halim, Syed Kutaiba Zamir. Okay, CFO mining sector. Amazing, sir. Thank you so much for your time. Amazing, amazing. So right now we have 20 participants. So this is good that, okay, that gives us more about yourself to know about you. When I am delivering, actual like seminar, so I usually take my mic and I go to the people. This gives, interaction. Sometimes breaking the ice is very important. This will help all of us to be very engaged with each other. But in webinar, sometimes I feel that this is very like a YouTube video or one-side conversation. But please be okay, very friendly so that we know each other. So I think so far this is very amazing. And maybe in between, I will be discussing wherever about the specific industry related examples so that you will be more take aways from this. Moving towards the next slide, and I always do this is one of my copy paste slide in my all presentations. To be honest, I always start with the very basic, and you know what is very basic is the definition of the internal audit. Most of us knows it. Okay, but I always want re-emphasize on this that internal audit is an independent, objective, okay, assurance and consultancy activity designed to add what we add, okay, to improve the organization's operations with a more systematic definition is there. I want, believe me, I want all the internal auditors usually to rote learn this. This is like a kalma for Muslims. We need to know about it. Okay, the most important things, two things I always say is within the definition. One is the adding value and systematic and discipline approach. So these are the two things whenever tomorrow or your next day, whenever you will be going to the office, when you are doing your opening meeting, field work, exit meetings, those who are reporting to the stakeholder board. So always re-emphasize that, okay, internal audit, we do work, we do add value, not like haphazard way, in a very systematic and disciplined approach. That's why we have frameworks. We don't do based on only chat GPT. We don't know what I know or what I like. Is always based on a systematic because this reinforce about internal audit and this reinforce your position of being internal auditor. The other thing I want to focus is on the mission of the internal audit, which is very directly linked with the topic that we are discussing today to enhance and protect. Believe me, protect is the one of the key word I want internal auditors to proudly say, yes, we protect the organization. Our recommendation really help in protection the organization. Otherwise, whenever there is a layoff, there is okay some cost savings things going on, they always think of okay whatever we have the support services, operations usually the second, support services, and the internal audit compliance function, these are the one people okay, let's outsource this, let's minimize this, because they don't see the value. And I always says right now in the world where we are, that unless and until you talk about yourself, no one is going to talk about you actually. So we have a constant that okay, when we are starting about the data protection, so this is all we are going the same thing, we are talking about the baseline. Just the next slide, we are talking about the internal auditor's role in the data protection and data privacy. Even this diagram what you can see behind, systematic, very precise, that defines about internal audits. Even in many of the presentations that you are using, even the backside image within your opening meeting, within your exit meetings, make them so that it gives a message. Everything has a message actually. So now let's talk about deep dive into the data privacy. See here, one thing I would say, next 60 to 90 minutes, we will be talking about our objective one, objective two, three, and four. This is a webinar. Okay, most of you are sitting at your home. Some of you may be at your offices. There are always some distractions are there. What I want all of you to be, all of you try to have a simple as your, a page or a diary or something with you. Even I am keeping usually with myself. Okay, and write what you think is a key takeaway. Believe me, in the end, when I came to know from Bilal also that this presentation will be even uploaded in the YouTube. You will have this presentation. If you want, I will be sharing you this presentation. Take screenshots. Okay. Most of the time when you will have this presentation, it's not useful. But if you take a screenshot, is in the mobile, you will see. Best thing to note to take the notes actually, so that whatever you are writing, I think so. Those who knows about 70% or maybe 60%, we remember it. What we listen, maybe around less than 50%. These numbers I'm telling as an average, but there are more precise numbers based on the study. So, first thing, start with the basics about what is privacy. So, this is as per the definition by the IIE General Guideline. okay, in the context of the organization risk management, refers to the right, most important thing, expectations of the individual. In every region, every part, the expectations is different. So mostly we talk about the right, but here is sometimes to create the expectation and to understand the expectation of the individual as well as for the corporate. This comes work for both actually in terms of the use of collection, sharing, retention, and all. You all knows this, so I am going it very fast over here. But as Bilal also mentioned within his initial notes, there are personal data, okay, and there is personally identified PII, and then we talk about the sensitive data actually. Okay, so personal data, what we talk about, something which you can relate to for one person. Usually, when we are in an organization, and for example, you are doing the HR audit and you ask them, are you keeping HR data or are you keeping personal data or sensitive data? They are saying, no, we are keeping a very high level. But usually, what they are always saying is directly, not indirectly. I will give you one example of, for example, how indirect or combining two or three fields within the data set, for example, which even HR is maintaining, whichever procurement is maintaining, lead us that this is a sensitive data or a personally identifiable information. For example, here in our context, I give example that in the IIA Qatar board member, there is a Pakistani. Now, I didn't say any specific personal data actually here, but those who knows or those who can simply Google it, they can only say that this is Muhammad Umar Arfin because there are, separated information. So my advice for all of you to look into always indirectly, combine three or four fields and you will find many financial institutions and others. You name the industry and you will find a lot of indirect ways where we are keeping this information sensitive. Okay, we will talk in the next slide. Okay, these required additional layer of security. Now a little bit about personal information, that any data that identify or relate to a specific individual. Sensitive data usually can be identifiable, plus it can cause some harm or certain discrimination. In, for example, in hiring, for example, anyone came to know that this is from a specific sector, specific religious belief, specific, for example, we're talking about corporate also, nationality, some areas, then it become more specific or sensitive information. Examples very common, okay, where we talk about the race, ethnicity. There will be a more specific examples that I will be sharing you in the next slide. Okay, so we need what the key message from this slide, that we need to talk and we need to see, we need to discuss in our audits, all the audits, that the personal information is one thing, but there's another SPI, rather than only focusing on PPI, focus on SPI, which is sensitive personal. Ask them that these are the sensitive information, even this should not be kept as encrypted. This should be kept as encrypted, not as a very public or a downloadable report, even for internal. We will come to the specific frameworks, which is our objective number three, that how different frameworks ask us to define personal information and the PPIs, and the third is SPIs. So look into everything. That's why, some, as even the US laws and global, they want them even a clear opt in and opt out for their SPI information. Now, this is, as Bilal has also mentioned, this is a screenshot take from the IIA Global Practice, which was issued last May 2025, about the data privacy and data protection. So examples are clear. I will not go in detail here, okay, about personal information, sensitive information, okay, which is, you can read it and these are very common, we all knows about it. What I want to highlight here, I will just give you one thing. Now you can resonate from many CVs that you have written, many CVs that you have reviewed. For example, a lot of personal information where you will find that people are writing within that addresses, okay, some are usually required, okay, for example photographs, in many part of, for example, in European, they don't want photograph. Even if a US CV has a photograph, they will reject. They said even we don't want to keep it actually. Okay, and there are sensitive, but believe me, being in part, I will not discriminate anyone. Is more like knowledge being in part, where I have reviewed a lot of CVs and I've seen a lot of confidential information. Your NIC number, passport number, driving license number. Okay, it's good to put that you have a driving license, but not required to put your driver license number also. Additional information about child and everything. You will see a lot of this. You can look into. Okay, so what I will advise, okay, to look into, because the problem is from one other side, okay, we are also a candidate sometimes for many job. Look into this because I have seen very professional CVs, maybe internal auditors, okay, and different, and they are putting very sensitive data within their CVs. CVs are meant for a specific purpose, but they are very shareable. Our LinkedIn profile also, they are very shareable. One example I just read last week also. Sometimes blogs and these readings will help you a lot. The example was the case study where in IT, IT staff, I think so he was IT security staff. One candidate, okay, a firm, they approach him through the LinkedIn actually. They mentioned it actually. Okay, social media platform in a bracket LinkedIn, and they interviewed him based on the CV, and they found that CV puts everything that okay, I have worked in Nexus version number 2 for the security patching and everything. So they got half the information. Then during the interview, okay, he found the other informations, and within that, okay, the hackers, and they were actually hackers, and they were collecting the information, and they hacked the corporate system, and they said thank you. Believe me, this is the risk that we are sometimes keeping it. Okay. Another thing, as I mentioned, your biggest compromise for our corporate sensitive data, I just mentioned, maybe most of you can resonate it now, is happening within our job interviews. I have been done many job interviews, okay, where I have taken this is, I will say, sometimes from the corporate side, sometimes from the employee side. For example, I am doing an interview for anyone for a senior internal audit position. And I ask, tell me your big fraud in the last company that, for example, Mr. Mustafa Ahmed was saying, someone within Mustafa Ahmed team, for example, in the UBL fund, what was the fraud that you identified in the UBL fund actually? And the guy, yes, sir. I have identified 10 million rupees fraud. This was happening within our this area. There was so much weaknesses, and I identified. People become very, motivated and telling and leaking every information. First thing I always say is this question as an interviewer, you should not be asking. Sometimes, if you are asking, okay, maybe the objective is to know whether the person has to assess that this is a confidential information, and I should not be telling you this, okay, because I am still an employee, and even if I leave, I should not be, okay, because I signed the ethics, code of ethics, and everything, and even if you don't sign, as an internal audit, Institute of Internal Auditors, we have the code of ethics. But I can tell you the general areas that what, for example, in the UBL fund, okay, in any other insurance and oil and gas sector, microfinance sector, refinery section, where Ms. Muzammar Ali is there. So based on that, you can give general examples. So always be cautious from both the sides. But unfortunately, so far I have seen that this is one of the biggest compromise within the job interview. And I want to hear from you, for example, those of you which you have based on your experience. If you can say that I am right, so I want you to write yes over here. Those who are saying no, this is not absolutely wrong, this is not happening, you can say no as well. But I want to hear from you, yes or no, based on your experience. So please, within the chat, you can mention simply yes, simply no. Yes. And many times what I have seen based on the HR, they intentionally ask this question so that they want the other answer actually. One time I had to stop a one guy that Habibi, please stop, please don't tell. This is a very confidential information. So see, majority I can see because this is happening. What is more important is to, those who are coming within, okay, attending seminars, attending webinars, reading. So this reinforce, all of us knows actually this is confidential, but sometimes reinforcing is very important. Now, going towards our first objective, the role of internal auditors in data privacy, data protection also, and the AI risk. So for this, before going into depth, we need to understand the role of the internal audit. Okay, here this is the three-line model. Still, unfortunately, I see many who says three-line defense. Okay, which even 2024 or 2023, they have changed it to three lines model. And then, okay, going to the next slide, actually, that this only the last month, in the month of July, so IIA has issued a statement of position for two areas. One is for the three lines model. If anyone knows what is the second statement of position, I would be happy if someone can write in the chat box also. So they moved even the line and the shape of the three lines model. So many of them, when if we are using these, copy paste, which is very allowable within our IA charter and policy, so we need to update. But what is the update actually? Why from first was defense? Believe me, when it was defense, and I can see the images which was created by the AI tools, they were coming with a gun actually. Like literally looks like a war is happening. And first is management. For example, those who are in finance, that any mistake happened, first this is finance mistake, this is HR mistake. And then if there is, okay, they are unable to catch that mistake or things, then there are second lines, which is, for example, compliance function, CISO function, IT. Okay, and even if they fail, then comes the internal auditor. We are the third line of defense. Really like looks like a war is happening, but that's why they really change it. So yeah, Kudaba, very good, right? This is role of IA. This was the third position, second statement of position that they have written. So I was talking about, having the war, and clearly looks into, I see this diagram. I love this diagram, but if you look into one box is management. Okay, the other box is internal audit. Okay, looks like internal audit is very different. What they have done, if you look into this model, actually, still if you line first line, second line, third line, but now they have made it in a one box. We are like a team. The concept is coming. What they want IIE globally, that with the era of where we are now, how Bilal has mentioned within his first 1 minute actually, the amount of transactions in the era we are, it cannot be like three functions separately. It's very interrelated. The word that they are focusing on is on the integration, mutual things. Okay, coordination and reliance, the roles which they are focusing is on that IA role. They want more as a facilitator. If, for example, the first line is not doing the job, so rather than issuing an observation, which is right, but the wordings has to be okay. Let's do facilitator. Okay, like this control self-assessment. They have worked into that part. Yes, there is a concern about the independence. Okay, I write a lot in my LinkedIn about the independence actually. Okay, so about, okay, like yes, internal auditors have to be independent, but that independence should not hide internal auditors. Many times you will not feel that, okay, internal auditor management wants them to invite in tender committee, and they say no, 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 I cannot be. My internal audit charter doesn't allow me to be part of the tender. Management trust you. That okay, sorry, that whatever you are saying, whatever are your observation, keep us rather than when we are doing a 20 million rupees or dollar project, and okay, your advice will come once we actually award and this was missed, and now in the next 20 million that we will be doing after 2 or 3 years, these are the findings or these are the post-mortem things. So they want you to be part of that. So as I mentioned, in the role of IA in ERM and advisory role of internal audits, yes, you are allowed. Clearly in stated said, yes, some safeguarding has to be taken, but internal audit has to be there. That's why internal audit, I Institute of Internal Audit, they have issued just within this model about Reiki metrics, about what is the role of internal auditors in the data privacy, in okay, data protection, and the AI risk overall related to the IT and the data. I really love the Reiki metrics because it defines who is responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed. Otherwise, if this is not there, and believe me, personally, in many of the audits that I do, the first thing as a part of the governance, I always check whether it's a part of the policies and procedures are good. Maybe it is defined, has to be there. Okay, very clearly documented. As an auditor, we always says not documented is not done. Okay, so it's very important to highlight, okay, who is responsible. For example, if my team, internal audit team, for example, if I have a team of 5, 10, 3, who is responsible for doing, my team is there. I have a senior auditor, supervisors, internal auditor who are responsible to the work. But as you all know, the head of audit is accountable. Anything comes accountable. But most important thing is related to the consultants. Like, okay, if anything is there, to whom I will be consulting. Okay, yes, I have to consult sometime if this is related to the legal area, regulatory risk. Okay, I should be consulting this with the legal department or compliance or even the IT, or sometime, okay, we are doing anything, we have to keep it informed. I just give you the example of internal audit. Usually all the divisions, all the departments, they need to have a Reiki matrix. Focusing on our topic actually, Reiki for the organization data protection. Okay, now It defines, as you mentioned, okay, responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed. Very simple. Most of I have seen if any project is going anything related to the data privacy. Okay, these are 19 elements. I will not read all of them. After this, in fact, we can share though, and those who are already a member of the IIA Global, you can simply download it. Okay, so anything which is related to the data privacy program scope, CEO, top management is usually accountable, and okay, and rest thing they are being informed. Usually this is happening. Okay, but for example, now we have the data privacy officer who should be accountable for the privacy policies, okay, anything where they need to make any access rights, reviews, and different kind of things. Many of, for example, GDPR, we talk about the Pakistan law also and different ISO, COSO. Okay, we talk about the data privacy framework. The data privacy officer is one of the key element that we need to have. Yet, as a size of the organization very small, so yes, these roles can be merged, but roles have to be there, okay, with proper segregation where possible or proper safeguarding measure. Then we talk about the legal and the compliance. As I mentioned, it's compliance. So C is not compliance, C is consulting. Because where most of the things they have to be consulting. Many organizations I have seen legal and compliance are usually a one function. Okay, ideally it has to be two. The role is different, but yes, with the passage of the time, with the awareness. Okay, so and the role of internal audit here is also very important to highlight what is legal and what is compliance, and they have to be informed within all the data privacy project and everything. Now, when I'm saying data privacy project, you might be thinking that we are talking about any migration or anything, but in next slide I will talk about this is related to anything actually, not only about data privacy projects. The data, any software or anything that you are using, data is a part of that actually. Now, this is the one which is comes which is data business and the business owners. So they are the most which are responsible for the data classification because they are the end user. I will talk about there are a lot of things where they are not even aware of what they have to in fact do or what is their roles and responsibility. Now comes, as I mentioned, this can be okay, data governance or chief information officer, system officer. Big organizations have all at separate. Small organizations sometimes head of IT, for example, is data governance, CIO, CISO, as well as data privacy officer. I usually say is that okay, based on the budget, profitability, and different aspects are there. It's fine to keep it one, but the most important thing that all the areas have to be covered. What CISO is doing, okay, what the data privacy officer is doing, okay. Best is to have it separately, okay. Otherwise, no, then they have to be clearly accountable. That okay, these are your accountability and responsibility as a part of the privacy officer, as a part of those. Okay, so these are very important as an auditors to enforce and to tell the management actually. Then comes the two areas very neglected actually, to be honest, what I have seen it in industry and I have checked along with many consultants. Human resource and procurement. Okay, procurement by default, they are the one who is selecting the vendor, they will be coming. But rest, for example, they should be informed for all of those things. For example, any privacy notice and transparency. So procurement is usually not involved. Human resource, they're only involved is there's any, for example, where you need to give show cause notice or any problem. Otherwise, as a part of any project, any system migration, anything that you are doing, human resource need to be involved. Last and the least, which is the opposite of the CEO. Right now we're talking about the IIA, but you can see we didn't talk about the internal auditors. Then it comes the last is the internal auditors. Ideally, it has to be initially, but you can see this is just the opposite of CEO and okay, everything which is I here is there. Okay, different things. Some areas where of course I agree. Some here where I sometimes where I want in future, and I have given the feedback when this was actually for the public consultancy. And all of us might know that okay, whenever IIA is issuing anything, before that they shoot papers for the public consultancy as well. These are usually available within their website. Some are only to the members. As I told you, I was a member of the content advisory group, so whatever content they usually put, they give us. I'm not only, there are globally there are 24 members are there, so they give us for our review. I put them actually initially that I want many areas where rather than I want it better for the future and the information and the credibility that we have and the knowledge we have for the business, it has to be where they don't have a compliance. It has to be C, at least consulting. But in I means you just put in CC and nothing. I'm just informed, just getting one side informed rather than consulted. Okay, you being consulted. The future, okay, the founder create that yes, where the audit is improving. Okay, and yes, in many areas organizations can put, but believe me, I want, if you are using anything, don't put even yourself as I inform. I is good. We are, of course, whenever you are doing the audit, okay, we are independent assurance, so you will look into that. Yes, I am I informed, so this will help you in the risk assessment. But the best and what we can do is the compliance area. Sorry, not the compliance, is the consulting. We can consult them about the privacy. Okay, you will be more involved within the business. Internal audit value will be seen actually. So that is the key concept. Okay, as I mentioned, the source is II Global Practice Guide. Okay. Now we are still talking about the data. There are so many issues within, okay, our data privacy. Okay, so it says that, okay, you are fighting, you are a swimmer and you are still struggling, with the waves. And then a tsunami is coming. So the AI, how it is particularly evolving in last 2 and 3 years, this is really a tsunami. And then many things come as ChatGPT, Copilot, and all. So now we are in the AI era. Before I go into a detail, very quick, most of you already know what benefits we already have based on the AI. Okay, I would say we need to say thanks, particularly for the healthcare and pharmaceutical. I think so. We don't have anyone for the healthcare and pharmaceutical, but this is something we really know that okay, different type of cancers which take earlier a lot of time for diagnosis. It can be very early and diagnosis. Any pharmaceutical products, top products which use earlier 10 years to 15 years. Now AI can identify the promising drugs within weeks and months that drastically save the cost. Banking, we have we are using it for banking for doing a lot of fraud prevention. This really helps us actually. Okay, sometimes as an end user, you might not aware that okay, that something is there, but from the system side, all the banks, they have very good fraud prevention mechanism and they are using AI. That okay, that Mr. Umair or Mr. Bilal, Iqbal, Mustafa card, they are usually, there is a trend is there. Sometimes we are receiving calls, might be you have might have received calls also before approving anything, or sometimes they just block from their self. Manufacturing, I will give you the example of the Siemens. Okay, right, it's really helping to reduce the failure and breakdown, and it identify based on the trend weeks before. Okay, retail, I will be going in some of the examples, but okay, but this is what we have achieved with the AI. Okay, some examples you might know. I put easy examples. Okay, like Netflix. Now they have changed the small videos and subscriptions models. So they do all everything based on the AI actually. Like around 80% of what people watch is driven by the AI recommendations. Okay, which is customer experience is enhanced. Amazon, their sales have been increased by 35% only by the AI. They look into the patterns, how users are doing. Hospitals, I mentioned it. Siemens example, I have given it. Okay, it has really, it's not only Siemens, but these are the one which are publicly there. I always mention in terms of the data confidentiality. See, there are blogs, there are some things, okay, even a LinkedIn, people quote things, okay, but those are not public. Sometimes when I say those should not be there, any statement which are issued by the company itself, that is usually, authorized for us to discuss. And we have to be very careful. A very simple thing, all of you will agree that what with the AI we can do, read 100 or 1000 contracts in a small time, some summarize before we need to have okay, different companies, a person who will summarize the presentation, summarize the contract, but everything you can see real time, seconds, a lot of benefit that we have it. But okay, even for the internal auditors, you can know every one of us. I believe there's no one who is not using AI actually right now. Even I would say internal audit, even forgot about internal audit. Even my 6 year old daughter, she is also using the AI for different kind of things. She knows, okay, there was some assignment was giving. She knows, okay, from my mobile, okay, that's it. She took a photo and asked her. People are very smart. People are using it actually. Even your family member, your daughters, okay, they might be living into this. But the key concern, what is the question for today actually? Is the AI safe? Answer I will not give from myself. I simply, okay, this is taken from the AI official policy statements. You can see what ChatGPT, every one of us is using. There is no shy, okay, that we are not using it. In fact, many of this presentation, I take a help of the AI actually. And to be very honest, many people are using amazing jobs with the help of AI. But please do not enter sensitive information that you would not want reviewed or used. AI itself within the official policy statement, they are mentioning it. Unless and until they are saying that, okay, use opt-out model, go to the settings and clearly use the opt-out model. But things are evolving. You might have seen the last week, one of the biggest heading, or 2 weeks before, because have been within the Economic Times, that okay, that ChatGPT, OpenAI, they revealed and their investigations are going on that the AI has taken some decision which no one has forced them to do. So AI, because that was as per the AI, that model, they think that okay, that this has to be the right answer, but there was some prompt that human has to involve, but they override that. This is the future, which is like okay, rather than a generative AI, which is we said it, neurological AI, where the mindset will work or what is right and what is wrong. Okay, so even right now, I'll say that okay, this is not even from myself, not safe to put organization data. Same as Cloud, Microsoft Copilot, they are doing something good. I would say as a part of the Microsoft, if you have the paid subscription, paid account, they ensure that yes, everything for the Microsoft, which is your embedded, comes within your Excel, Microsoft document, Word document, and the PDF where they have proper API. They ensure that yes, this is only within your engine. The data will not be revealing. But please do check with your organization IT. But what I have seen in different part of the world that yes, rather than OpenAI, rather than the paid subscription of the ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot are providing more okay thing. For example, many of you are using Teammate as an internal audit platform or solution for our audit observations to follow up and dashboard. So what Teammate has done, they have put AI within the Teammate, and they ensure that yes, any data that you will put in that will be within your organization environment, that will not go to the public. Okay, so yes, those who clearly says and your organization has tested, IT has tested, so use that. Otherwise, okay, there are always some same, we generalize things rather than put your organization data. And I've seen people are doing it carefully, but sometimes pressure helps. Okay, let's do this thing and let's analyze. And curiosity. Okay, so a company now have the AI policy for employees. That's a very good thing. I know that using many companies are using the AI policy, but implementation side it has to be there. And I will talk about different kind of data AI policies and the data. But this is good. I am seeing it very engaging discussion is going on. So please keep it engaging. Okay. So now, very simple thing, many times they says that, okay, within the organization boundary, it should not leak any data. But you have seen, okay, employees copy confidential contract, okay, it goes to a AI, which of course it is using external. Within 30 seconds, or the data leaves the organization. That is in many of the frameworks, I would say. Okay, NIST framework, okay, GDPR, okay, we talk about different. The one key concept is controlling, and within the controlling is that data should not leave the organization unless and until a clear opt out has been taken. But in many cases, that opt out has never been taken actually. So this is how the data is compromising is happening actually. Now, a little bit about the internal auditors coming towards our area. What can go wrong within it? And many of you might have seen it actually. Okay, happening. I clearly say that now I hope this has been reduced, but yes, it was many. There was some case studies which was some of the firms. Okay, they use this. I don't want to use any firm's name. Okay, I love everyone. First tier of firm, second tier of firm, and everything. Okay, so but these things happen that okay, that auditors use confidential data, contracts, okay, to analyze and something, and sometimes give me uploaded the policy, okay, and ask them that to analyze what is missing. Some because we have been giving the chance to review the policy, and they simply copy paste the policy. Okay, so there are risks are there. Data sharing can be done, okay, cannot be done. As I mentioned, always check before what you upload. The key thing is anonymization. People still are doing okay. Just change the number. Okay, change everything. Change company name. Okay, and you can do this. I have seen Copilot is better based on my personal experience with the other. Okay. Conclusion, what is my risk, particularly for the internal auditors? And okay, and I have wrote and I have discussed this literally for more than 30 minutes. What I see the future, my kids, I say to my team also that you are my kids actually. Like I see the conclusion, like okay, all of us can see that okay, where you have 10 years of experience, 20 years of experience, the time where we grow and we discuss, we used to refer the standards. Okay, still right now on my right hand side, and also I have the standard with me, even the IIA updated standard, old world, IFRS and everything, and we used to refer it. Now I see, which is okay, it usually take time, okay, but now I see that people simply use AI and AI is giving amazing result. Go, okay, that gives, okay, IFRS, this IFRS to this, ISA, this to many, and which is giving an amazing result. But concern is this dependency. In future, anything happen and about your professional judgment, you are not thinking. That is, destroying many of the AI, which we know that, okay, previously they were making accounts for the age of 7 years. They stop, they make it 11 years actually. You put and okay, date of birth 11 year, you will not be able to make account. Now they have put it 17 years. You know it about it actually, and this is very important because schools have faced a lot the whole assignment universities, that okay, that they looks like they're cheating. Supervisor or the teacher is teaching them, giving them assignment. Purpose of the assignment is thoughts building, but the guy in the end he's just putting everything from the chat GPT. So what's the thing now, they have those who know about the Turnitin. So rather than previously issue was the copy paste, now there is a AI, they detect okay, this is from the AI. Problem is this, there are some AI tools who humanize the AI in AI, and this there's always. That's why I say this is a tsunami. My concern is this for the internal auditors, for all of us, for myself, for all of you, that we have to look into the professional judgment that yes, still we need to verify. Okay, things I have seen many times. Okay, templates, lazy auditors. I have written an article for the lazy auditors, which I love sometime. Okay, like he cannot write the observation. He will just put a template of your organization and ask them to fill it actually, and they are doing so. But this is a compromise that which is happening. Last but not the least, personal account. Okay, unfortunately, many of us. Okay, I have seen that. Okay, which we are using not even our corporate accounts for our any kind of using upload. And this is where we are talking about the AI policies also. I have reviewed some of the policies, and unfortunately, I have seen even such kind of detailed discussions are not there. So the best way is okay, even if you are using, for example, Chat GPT, okay, we need to make a corporate account rather than a personal account because this will be there. Okay, so they are discussing topic we're talking about, but this is one of the key takeaways that okay, I want for you to tell your audience also when you go to your meeting field work that okay, it's fine to use it because you are doing everything, but in the end you're using your personal account actually. The data will be there. You are not using temporary chat actually. The best other best way I always use to temporary chat. Okay, but the more best is to use if for business is business, use your business account. Otherwise, this. I've seen many organizations where they have disabled, where they have blocked the AI sites. They are still reviewing. What I can see the future blocking is not the right answer. Cannot be. Okay, there people will be using it. There are different ways. You will block this. They use their mobile. They will use some other mechanism actually. Go. Human, that's the perfect. Bilal has mentioned very right actually. Use artificial intelligence without letting go to human intelligence part. Human intelligence, professional judgment is very important in the ad because all of you will agree. You write, for example, any AI, I want this conclusion, it will give you this conclusion actually. Okay, if there's not something, it can divert actually. I know there's always say yes sir actually, yes sir kind of thing actually. So to be like funny part, okay, but I have met some people who are, where a husband and a wife having a disagreement and they are having a dependency on the AI, for example, ChatGPT, and asking, okay, my concern is this, he told, and she told this, who is right? Fine, absolutely fine. No issue, you can use this, but dependency. That is the big concern for the future actually. And ideally, you should not be revealing to the AI because we don't know so far that what one personal account, because this is free. Anything you all know, nothing in the world is free. My father always says to me, and corporate thing, nothing is free. If anything is free, you are the product actually. So if but most of the accounts are usually free, so we have to literally take care. We don't know what is happening in the future with us. Okay, now we will be talking a little bit on the techniques in conducting the privacy and protection audit actually. So this is the objective number two. Here, as I mentioned earlier, that I will be talking about two things, which one is the dedicated audit and other one is the embedded audit. Many of our internal audit plans, data privacy and protection still is a dedicated audit. The article which I have written for the IIA Global, which was published only yesterday, I talk about in any of the audit, you name it, and you fill even operation audit. Data is everywhere is there. You do human resource payroll audit, of course, is there. Procurement audit data is there. Okay, when any strategic audit you are doing, okay, AR to AP audit, there is a data, there is a customer. So what I advise and what we are doing, and even in the future, what you will be seeing, right now, even as per our IIA global standard, they say that, okay, as a part of when you want to show the professional skepticism, okay, they say you have to do a risk-based audit, which includes also one thing, which is this is it fraud risk analysis, because fraud is the thing. Now in very future, you will be seeing it actually. Fraud and AI and data will be there. So in our every audit, in our oil planning, okay, you have to look into data privacy and the AI risk actually, which will be there. So what I will say, suggest within your planning, within your opening meetings, keep data privacy and protection embedded within all our audit. Yes, still technical audit, we can do this separately, but my key takeaway, and this will be the future, and the beauty will come. In my article, I have written a lot of examples also. I have, of course, generalized those examples. Okay, and we will talking here some of the examples here also. You know, as I mentioned it, okay, some critical concerns for data privacy and protection joining pattern. As I mentioned initially, you go in your HR field, you just join two fields, which is very common actually. Your full address, okay, your name. It will come sometimes you will very easily find, for example, which kind of ethnic you are. For example, if we are in a global, for example, I live in Qatar or in the Middle East, there's always something that, okay, this area, for example, ABC area where such kind of people are living, in XYZ area where there are other kind of people are living. These are, for example, for them, they don't want to explore, like tell them that, okay, I am from this religious aspect, or I am this from ethnic, or it talk about, okay, a different kind of things, okay, but globally. But just join two and you will find that, okay, reveal. So, but then it comes as a concept of the, okay, keeping the minimum data. I will talk about the minimum data in the framework actually, that whether, for example, having the full address within your database for, is it really required or not required, for example. And there are different things, pictures also, okay, and different things to all. Other thing you might have seen within your daily organization life, downloaded report from the ERP and operation system. You download it and it's simply going in the WhatsApp, it's simply going to the other computer, okay, some in emails also, everything which is very amazing within system framework, control, access right. I give one example, which is very common and which you can see and resonate within your experience. Payroll, very sensitive data, right? Everyone will agree that, okay, payroll is a very sensitive data area. It started with all the access right control and everything we have seen it. In the end, when it is going from the your ERP system to the banking portal, you noted that in the end, a guy simply downloaded the file, downloaded in the CSV format, okay, without encryption, can say anything, and then this will upload it in the in the banking system. So that download simply violates full principle. There can be, okay, different controls can be there, should be there. Now we have all the ERPs and system which can do a direct link. But when you look into the process flow, everything, so look into from where you're getting the data and where it is being published. You will know everything. Now, one of the most common, data leak which is really happening in our corporate is this thing. What is this? Guys, I want you to be active. WhatsApp. This is the WhatsApp. See, what's happening, majority of the, you might, within any organization you are working, there is a group, always there, ABC, company, that group. Operations field, you will see a lot of people, okay, within, and which is process is there. You will ask for data understanding and they will tell you our process. Okay, we go and we publish this in WhatsApp customer, okay, database. Your today's target are there in your in this, but most of this is your personal, again, this is your personal account. Okay, a lot of data, and that employee can leave it to the other. Many time it happened with me, many time is happened with you also. You know, you have contacted someone, for example, and the guy go, yes, 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 but now I have changed my company to other. Okay, but I can give you the same service. Actually, you lose the customer. I have done from my side in one of the organization this thing, that how much customer you are only leaving because of your practice, which is easy solution that you have adopted it for the personal account. And as mentioned it, and WhatsApp web also, which is the biggest danger, and the data leak. Coming into the data leak about WhatsApp as well as for the mobile also. The one area very important, not using corporate business card number and business app. Ideally, I've seen many organizations which are doing good actually. Some have BYD policy and they just say, okay, BYD policy, we have it, use your account and we are fair. And they just put administrative checks that yes, you can use it very carefully. But no, organization should have a preventive control. I will talk about administrative control and preventive control. Very big difference is there. Ideally, the best way, everything has to be ideally, the company should be giving the best way. Again, cost is there. Okay. um if anyone doesn't, that's the true, that's the thing, many people don't understand. They just sign it on their first day, which is the BYD, but they don't understand it. So the best way is to have it corporate number. Corporate number can be your simple landline number, not even required for it, but yes, some it can be a separate SIM, and the business app, which really saves everything. And that mobile, that phone has to be fully secured, IT patch, okay, rather than everything, so that even if the employee leave the company, mobile has been stolen, very unfortunately happened within our countries. Okay, so things are being saved. Okay, and sometimes even forget about the stolen employee leave, even he will have all the data. So the best way is to have corporate number. You can think that okay, you can have the, but the hackers or anyone who really wants to leak the data, he can send from a WhatsApp number to his number. I will talk about this. You know, as I mentioned, as the employees and the hackers and the penetrators are smarter, the other sides, they are also smarter. There are ways to even control that thing. But I will discuss this in the one of the next slide. Other thing, okay, employee forwarding confidential document to personal WhatsApp account. This thing I mentioned, sharing a screenshot of this internal system. Sometimes you put it, okay, and the people can, okay, screenshot is not allowed. For example, in BYD, it is mentioned people can still take a screenshot. There are some application which restricts the screenshot. I'm sure WhatsApp business account in future that will not allow you to take the screenshot. For example, one time pictures, still you cannot take a screenshot. Previously, I believe that was allowed, but going forward in WhatsApp business account, this will not be allowed. But people are smart. Mobile, take a picture, done. There are still some controls even for that, but will be coming in future, and some are there right now. Case happen like this, okay, within hospitals, if you do the industry, sending files to the wrong contact or in the wrong group. Okay, very happening. People are busy, they are doing this. Auto downloading files onto unsecured, okay, sharing customer information in the group. Again, we talk about the loss and installer, personal account, there can be a different and kind of the risk, okay. And we told, as I mentioned it, okay, I think so. Bilal, as well, let's talk about the WhatsApp web. This is again, this is for example on a shared or even as a public computer. Your computer actually you are using it. All the cookies can be downloaded over there simply. Okay, employees leaving the organization while retaining chat and documents. Very common. Because I said it about data loss is one thing, but we talk about the principle of our this topic is saving data is saving business actually. So many times the business is being gone because of this area, and we're talking about the voice notes and the others. But let's look into the key controls that I want. Easy embedded controls, that what can be there. Okay, I will not go into very detailed. Please take some, you can take screenshots. This will be recorded also, but here as a part I will be more telling about the examples and the controls based on the experience. One of the things I want in every audit, and I recommend, highly recommend in every audit, lack of data inventory and data classification. Usually, okay, it's not there. One, I will just go through with this, or the organization risk description. Organization does not know what personal data it collects. Okay, many time it happens. If they even they don't know what they're collecting actually, sometimes because the fields are so many and they're just collecting everything, what risk they have it actually. Because if you know what you're collecting, then you can identify. In my first objective, what I talk about, personal information, PPI, okay, and SPI. So this is very important to look into. High level, what you will do, data register, classification, other thing. But what is very important for us possible outcome, you will found as no complete record of personal data processing activities, sensitive customer data stored without proper classification. Because once you look into your data register and look into whether how this has been classified, you find this is not at all even classified actually. True. So an unknown data repository is creating a privacy exposure. A lot of this you will find when you are doing an interview with your auditee. Okay, right now I usually say that okay, don't use the word auditee. Is always like with the word client actually. Okay, so there is a very big difference. Okay, I have written an article for this as well. But with our client, okay, so you will find as a process. Okay, I download this, I keep it, and you find the data is there. Just go to the download. Ask them to show you the downloads or their system. You will find a lot of downloads are there. WhatsApp web, maybe within your computer, you will go to download and you will see a lot of confidential data are there. Unknown data repositories creating a privacy exposures. Then excessive collection of the personal data, okay, creating, there's a rule is there, minimum information. Okay, so you will find that okay, within your HR audit, with your procurement audit, then your different kind of audits, you're collecting unnecessary personal or can be corporate. Personal here can be customer as well. Okay, forms requesting information without justification. Okay, and increase exposure in case of the breach. So these are the potential exposures that you can have, and the organization is inherently taking without any benefit actually. We consent management, a very biggest area, either in terms of employee hiring, customer onboarding, supplier as well. We have to take the consent. Okay, and you will find that okay. Sometimes they say there's a consent is there, that no, that consent records are unavailable. No, you need to have a consent record. One time, what I simply do it when I audit, okay, how many contracts we have, for example, or customer we have, and show me the consent. Our customer we have around 10,000, and consent only database was able to show only about hardly I think so 40. So not documented is not there actually. Consent is one of the key thing. Users unable to withdraw consent easily. GDPR, you are very aware of this, and other laws says about it. Anytime you can go and you can withdraw from the consent that you have earlier provided and you really don't want actually. I have seen still so many sometime applications where I don't want to get emails actually, notifications. Okay, notifications can be thing, but email particularly where I put on okay, I withdrawn, but still I am getting it actually. Within my audit, in one of the company, we have seen okay, that there was a delay. Only thing was delay. You put it now, and it will be updated after 1 month actually, or even next day, not a real time batch, because it was based on a batch actually. So that consent is fine to have it, but that consent should specifically mention that okay, maybe because in one of the case there was a court case happened in one of the European where they said okay, I put a consent that I don't want to withdraw, but I still receiving this kind of email, and they put this is very annoying actually. So and the person was able to win because there was a batch update was there, but that was not publicly mentioned. Okay, non-compliance with the data protection regulations. Please, if you look into in our next slide, I will talk about 10 key areas that we can look into all the audits. Don't wait for the data privacy and protection audit. Within our key regular audit, we can do such kind of compliance checks. Missing regulatory obligations and gaps are there. Unauthorized access to personal data, former employees still have access within your regular audit. You can check about such kind of access rights. I have seen many auditors are doing. Again, I am reinforcing that that has to be done. Periodic access rights review. This thing we usually check in our data privacy audit or data audit or our IT audit, IT general control audit, ITGC audits. But no, it's good to do, but sometimes we are doing this annually, sometimes within after 1 2 years, sometimes after 3 years, different kind of things. But other audit within it, for example, you are doing a human resource audit, procurement audit, any other. Within that, you can look into okay, when last time you have downloaded the list and from the IT and you have reviewed your access rights. This is very important for us to look into. Okay, poor data security control, okay, unencryption. These things, believe me, doesn't require very technical competencies. Any auditor can ask this thing. But yes, you need to have a know a little bit information where you're talking about encryption. Okay, whether you simply ask, okay, whether the data in rest or data in move, okay, both are being encrypted. Okay, the people can say yes, it's encrypted. Please show us how it is encrypted. Five why. Go into detail, and you will get into know. For them, APS says, encryption is there, RTS encryption, TPS encryption is there. What kind of encryption? Some you can check and ask them, and they will be, your auditee, your client will be able to answer it. Third party data privacy, one of the biggest risk. And when we will go into the objective number 4, many of the attacks, data privacy breach are mainly happening because of the third party. That's why, IIA, they are also issuing a lot of guidance for the third party. They risk to look into the privacy clause, vendor processing data without appropriate controls, okay, and how to do, you are doing the vendor monitoring, okay. In every or no department, in every area, you will be find there is a third parties involved. Even sometimes for the internal audit, for example, I gave an example of teammate. Okay, you are using ACL or you are using any other software, so there's a third party is there. So how they are being involved, if they have to do any troubleshooting, how they are doing the troubleshooting, ask them the procedure, what access they have, how you are securing your data. Okay, so improper data retention and disposals, this is also one of the key risks also. In some of the geographic region, we have a clear deadline. For example, we mention it, okay, internal audit record, we will keep it for 15 years, 10 years. Even I have seen, even we are still keeping it actually. Shredding sometimes makes us feel that it will just do, let's don't just put it. But there's always a retention cost. There is always problem is there. A data leak can be there. Okay, data disposal methods are, okay, just ask this question and you will find. Okay, cloud privacy is, so is one of the, Sayed Kutaba has mentioned, Zamir. Like, what about cloud privacy? Trend is to use more and more cloud, so problem of privacy can be increased twofold or maybe more actually. Very, very important thing. I think so. What I really like about this question plus this thought, you will see it, and you might see in that, yes, you ask about how you are covering this data privacy. Answer is outsource. We have given this full response to outsource, and many of you can simply say is that yes, that this was the answer given by, and sometimes unfortunately this was given by the IT personnel as well. Okay, there are different protection. Okay, services. Okay, SaaS you are doing or PaaS you are doing. Okay, but look into have within your contracts. You have reviewed it administratively. Forget about contracts. If you didn't check how you are ensuring that they are doing all the privacy checks. There are different kind of. We talk about the SOC report here. Have you reviewed the SOC report? You will be asking this question with them. The ISO, okay, the vendors, there are different kind of thing. Right of audit. Believe me, right of audit is, I have seen it in majority of the contracts, but when we check, usually people are not doing exercising this. But and sometimes where you want to do and they say you cannot do the audit actually. To do the right of audit and surprisingly try to do this, but SOC reports are very important. Okay, but within the SOC report review, because people are smart, they have already a SOC report, but you will found in the agreed upon procedures there are different elements which are not there. So within your contract you need to have a request for the SOC report and agreed upon procedure, what areas needs to be mentioned, what areas needs to be reviewed actually. So cloud privacy is one of the very good thing, important thing. And believe me, the example of the cloud, I always mention sometimes and many times, I have this computer and this can be my cloud. Here I have a computer actually. So this can be a cloud, okay, which is connected through the internet. And maybe, and we are thinking as that the diagrams that I showed that a cloud is something which is maybe on NASA or maybe on Mars or something, but we all know that this is not the case. Okay, data breach management. Okay, delay breach notification, lack of document, incident response, privacy incident. Okay, due to root causes, we need to look into such kind of thing. Artificial intelligence. Here, I will take a little bit of the focus. Okay, again, employee entering confidential data into public AI tool. Just ask further, for example, you are doing IT personnel or a business, okay, user head, for example, that how come you will check, okay, what confidence you have that your employees are not putting confidential data in the system. And you will be finding answers like something, no, we are usually asking them in our weekly meeting that do not put confidential data. Is this a good control? Everyone, no. No one will say that is a good control actually. Even IT also, how you can ensure that, okay, yes, from the logs, are you checking? Sometimes they say, no, we are thinking to block. But no, you will block, but they can use some other option. How you will ensure? Okay, so there are some tools are there. Same, we were talking about same tool and different kind of tool who can look into this thing. Many organizations they are using the AI model actually. Okay, so how they are using embedded, okay, from some customer, from some vendor, okay, or they have opt out a policy for the AI. So how you will ensure that the AI models trained using personal information without approval? One of the thing just only last week, okay, and I think that was Amazon. Yes, I think so. It was Amazon who published this thing that, okay, who made a statement of apology actually. Like for the last 6 months. Yes, DLP are important tools. So yes, Bilal, we will be talking about this in one of the next slide. So Amazon, so they made a public apology. What they're saying that, okay, they were so many recruitment was coming and they were using the AI model to do shortlist, and many of the and companies they are using for the recruitment shortlist, because you have one position and 1,000 CVs are there. So AI, what they noted that yes, and with a statement of apology, based on the past data and based on the number of employees as a male and female generally, so they found that okay, more were male, so the company is more intended to have a male employee. So every time they used to shortlist the male employee, they were thinking that yes, initially that yes, within those only the male were the shortlisted, but when they look into detail and then humanly, professionally, when they look into and they found out no, there were female, a lot of female with that should be there, and then they noted that yes, that the model was trained. They was okay trained by using the personal information from the corporate without using, without proper approval actually. They didn't ask, they made a decision by themselves actually. So then they made a apology, and then they opted it. So there are a lot of things that we need to ask, okay, whether what models we are using, because the AI model is a black box. All of us knows it's like a black box. How you are keeping it, how inside, how it is being processed. But ask question, the okay, your customer, they need to know about the answer. Okay, employee awareness and privacy culture, least but one of the most important, the ACFE audit report to the nation still mentioned that okay, majority of the employee frauds, employee negligence can be stored by employee awareness. Okay, corporate communication role is here very important. Okay, ask from the corporate communication or your HR that okay, circulate these kind of emails. Sometimes not a lot of emails, people will be putting it auto email and it will be going to a specific folder. No one is reading it. And sometimes ask them to yes, click. HR can make some kind of e-trainings and ask them with the questions also a lot. So this create a sense of awareness and culture. As an audit manager, as an okay internal audit, this is your area. Whenever you are going in an opening meeting during the field work, tell the audience, tell your client about the importance of the data privacy and protection. This overall it will create a culture, and this is still one of the best mention tool. Now previously I talked about the general auditor. Here very quickly I'll talk about the information system auditor, where Bilal has also mentioned that we have DLP, okay, XDR. There are different tools are there. We talk about the identity and access management. Okay, database administration, MFA, multi-factor authentication, different things that you can check into, data encryption. Okay, ask them technically. If you have a technical auditor, what I suggest, usually we have seen you have within your team you have IT auditor and general auditor. IT auditor doing separate tasks, general auditor doing separate tasks. Many of us are mixing that, okay, that within our regular audit we take the advice, we take the okay some area from the IT auditor and they are helping, so which is usually a best way. Okay, as you mentioned, as global advice also, that you everyone is not required to be expert of all, but holistically you need to be having expert of the IT and the other skills, so use that. Okay, but these we are talking about who are doing a little bit of the technical audit, dedicated audit, or if you have a technical auditor who is supporting the in the irregular. SQL vulnerabilities are still one of the biggest. You will find a lot of database, okay, who are not properly patched, okay, which authentication controls and okay, and SQL's queries they're still using without proper protection layer. Cloud and third-party security. Here we are talking about. Look into this. Ask them. Okay, the question which was asked above, what about the cloud? Okay, so this is very important. to look into the exclusive permission, vendor storing information without adequate safeguard, and most important, sometimes vendors are sharing information without even your approvals. So everything has to be there, and a proper reporting monitoring. Ask your IT that what frequently reports you are getting, or do you have a live access of the dashboard in terms of the security assessment. So these are the questions that will provoke them to look into the details. Okay, one of the thing as a part of the SIEM, there are other XDR also, the security information and event management. Auditors, please, you can check with them. And usually now every IT department have the SIEM which has covered everything. The concept is there. One software as a security information and event management, which is integrated to everything, and that will give a dashboard. As I mentioned in the my one of the previous, which was the IIA dashboard, where IIA Recce metrics. Our internal auditors need to have the I at least getting information. So it means you need to have access. So request the access only for view only, so that you can look into what are the key events are there. Just an example, I am just putting it here. To talk about failed logins, excessive, different kind of risk are there, problems in terms of the materiality. So this will helps you about, and then there's a for data classification breaches are also there. Sometimes even attempts are there, internal as well as the external attempts, for any access right. So that will give you information about a lot of things. Now I think so we are okay. Still I have around 20 minutes, and we will be talking about the privacy protection and framework, which is the key objective. A lot of privacy protection frameworks are there, which you can name it, you can find. But what you have seen it, actually every country has their own, but there are three which are the fundamentals, which many of the frameworks have been taken from them. GDPR, European Union, many of you are already aware. Then California Consumer Privacy Act and California Privacy Right Act, CCPA and CPRA. A very strict, very more strengthened and different about the privacy, and the we talk about the rights and expectation in the privacy definition. So it is covered. And the third one is the NIST privacy framework, where so these are the top. So my recommendation for all of us, for all of you, is to have the top few items, even know about these frameworks. Actually, other framework is the Canada. They have their own European Union Artificial Act is there. Even the IIA has also made a thing. India, but they have greater, now you can say, a lot of framework. They are referring it to the India's Digital Protection Act also, and ISO. So please, this is not a small list. Lists are big, but these are the one which are very top. Now let's talk about within the GDPR. There are top 10 things, that you should be asking in your any audit. Where of course we know it about, this is law applicable if you have any customer or any person who is under the European. But I asked many of the companies, that even if you can adopt the good things without having, for them, if you don't have a European, but or maybe you can tell without that, yes, we have this, so that they can come. So there are different statements, but now what I've seen in many organizations, they are using, start implementing that. We are following the guidance of the GDPR. So the most important question: do we know what personal data we hold? It's the most important question, actually. Is there any lawful basis for protecting personal data? That how you are protecting personal data? Privacy notice expectation is clear for the client, customer, even for the government. Okay, most important thing is access to personal data restricted on need to know basis. So how you have done this? The checklist that you can find a lot of checklist also within LinkedIn also. I've seen this within our group as well. So you can use this in within our general audit also. So is encryption data encrypted at rest as in transit? Yes. So I think so what Bilal has mentioned very now is encryption at rest is important as encryption is live data. So rest means what is within your database, and then in live data which is moving, actually. So both, so you need to be more specific that what encryption you're talking about. Sometimes do we have encryption? Yes, we have encryption, but they may be right, actually. They are not lying. Yes, we have encryption only for rest data, but we don't have encryption for live data. So internal auditor, we need to be very specific. Okay, your encryption. Okay, which encryption we have? This encryption. Okay, this certificate is updated or not updated. Sure. Do we have a proper certificate? Okay, then we're talking about which system, rest or in transit, different things. So that will really help you. Okay, and retention and secure disposal, how they can effectively individuals. Okay, so there are some. Okay, please take a screenshot, take this thing and ask this, include this within your working paper. NIST, I really like this framework actually because this is very, for me, it's like very simple and which is like governance level. You talk about five questions actually. Identify, govern. First thing is identify, govern, control, communicate, and protect. Very simple. Okay, so this usually simple frameworks I usually like because they are usually easy to implement. Also GDPR also because this is the good thing. It's very like question based. A lot of here it is also question based, but categorized into what are your identification role, how who is accountable, how you are governing this, controlling what controls you have. So you have to expressly mention that okay, if you are telling that I am the NIST privacy framework we are following, so you have to do the compliance and you have to make a conformance statement. Okay, transparent with the shareholder, protect and respond. So these are the things. Again, you will find a detailed checklist, okay, which is available. This is also a public framework where you can download. Now, we have the Pakistan National Data Governance Policy. In the month of June, it was being published by the Pakistan Digital Authority (PDA). Till now, this is not act. It will be act. Okay, after some time. Right now, this is for the open for the discussion. In fact, I am also reviewing, and my objective is also to give my guidance and feedback for this. Right now, the umbrella. This is mainly for the government data that they are focusing a lot. Okay, and but the really good thing what I listen is data minimization principle. And this is we need to check in our regular audits as well. Like what are the data minimization principles that we have? Okay, or are we simply correcting things which are our knowledge? Okay, so this is very important. So I really liked, okay, there are some internal audit relevance as a part of the, okay, first they mentioned it, okay, customer data is strategic national. Okay, for example, this is one of my initial feedback when I was writing. A lot of things we're talking about, okay, digital. These many controls can be there for digital, but if you know still, if you go to any government office, you will find this much manual papers, manual forms, okay, pink copy, red copy, green copy, and different kind of copies are there. How those are being secured? I sometimes you can see people take those to home actually and coming, okay, which you have seen it actually within your thing. So how even those things can be controlled? What are the okay? The because the once you are having any governance, the governance should take into every perspective. It should not only govern the digital, but yes, digital is important. Okay, but here we're talking about national data governance. So I will also advise all of you also where you have time, many of you are the leaders within this industry. Please have a review of this, provide your feedback, and this will really help as a country for us to grow into. Okay, now we'll talk about a little bit about the common data classification level. This is something that you can resonate within your daily life actually. So we are talking about okay, public, internal, confidential, restricted. Can be many, but these are the ones which are mainly very famous. No, I will give you, you know about the public, okay, documents, okay, which is like company website, brochure, annual report, press release. So sometimes people say this, no, they are not required to protect, but no, the protection level is required, it can be low. Then can be internal, which is policies, procedure, organization chart, internal email can be medium, confidential by default has to be high, restricted, which should be very high, or any, SPI information has to be a very high. But how they are company, every organization usually have a data classification and protection level. Some policies are there. You will find many contracts and like this, for example, and is mentioned as confidential, not printable. But if you will just do control P printable, it will do printable. Confidential, just send to external email, it will be done. So administrative controls are there. I've seen even internal audit manual mentioning, for example, confidential, internal audit report mentioning highly confidential. Okay, but how it has been, but this is very right to put it actually. This will give a sense of a culture that yes, internal audit is using. And I ask her that okay, it has to be promptly mentioned this statement every page in fact, that okay, for internal use only, for confidential, not for sharing, okay, for the applicable person as per the distribution list. Always mention distribution list. I think so. We all are putting distribution list as well. Okay, but is it enough or no actually? Because this is administrative. Still you can print, still you can send to external, you can download it. Okay, so organization, we need to check whether we have the proper data protection system, which is a preventive system. There are a lot of data, okay, protection systems are aware what they do, okay, and I want you to be very, all of you to be very careful here. For example, data discovery. Okay, so what they do as a system, okay, many organizations this has been implemented and many this not being, but the benefit, sometimes as an internal auditor we need to tell the benefit. So what they do, they automatically classify, okay, they look into sensitive data, different platform, Azure, okay, premises connected outside, even cloud also, it get linked with the API, and okay, and automatically discover that this is the sensitive organization. Every document that you create, okay, you just go and just create a document. Okay, by default it gives a classification to this. In many organizations, for example, gives, for example, by default confidential, okay, or internal, okay, so that you cannot send it. Now, for example, the document has been classified as internal, and now you are trying to send it to the external Gmail actually. So so the system by default, okay, your Outlook, which is being linked with this data discovery system, will not allow it to send it to someone outside, even by Teams, even by WhatsApp. Okay, the only thing, business WhatsApp, it can be controlled. Okay, personal WhatsApp, one that cannot be controlled. There's a limitation because this is a personal WhatsApp. Okay, so and there were different endpoint, USB. You want to move it to USB? No, you cannot do. But yes, where you have to do a document which is for external, you can first need to classify this external. And what it does, employee by default cannot classify it to external. Okay, the line manager, it goes one step above actually. There are that much level is there. Okay, Microsoft has, I will talk about some solutions which are very economical and very good actually, which is providing amazing results, okay, of preventions actually, how to the data can be protected. Okay, it does encryption, insider risk, okay, tell about audit log, okay, it searches for, it helps for the investigation and litigation. I always mention, okay, we are using Outlook, okay, within our organization. Anything, okay, you want to delete, okay, if anyone wants to delete an email, for example, but email is a corporate data, they can simply put control delete. And if go to the your delete folder, then you can delete it from there. But no, you can control this also because this is your corporate. This is not your Hotmail and Gmail actually. Okay, so corporate account. So there's the settings which is known as litigation on hold. Just go on litigation on hold and enable it. It means anything you can delete, it will only delete from your end actually. But corporate, okay, Outlook, it will always be there. Okay, so that is a feature of the Outlook. But even if you are using data protection system, you can enable it from there, so that people cannot simply delete. What this do? This detects behavioral. So people are doing mass download. One time, okay, very common, you have seen it, okay, when people are leaving from one organization, they just download every policies, every template and everything and keep it with them. Okay, but if you have a proper system, it's okay. No, this is okay. Now Mr. Omer is leaving, or by default actually, the new joiners or anytime. So he is downloading a lot of files. So system will sometime also alert this to the IT, and he will say, okay, it will not directly stop, but within that day you can take a decision that okay, what message goes to the manager that okay, why Mr. Omer is taking so much of the downloads actually. Okay, and there's unusual behavior. So I have seen many companies, banks particularly, okay, even retail also, they have done a lot of control for the data, which really helped them in the business. Okay, now just some Microsoft Purview is one of the very emerging software that is there, who controls a lot of things that I have mentioned, but there are other. One thing I will advise for all of you, that whenever we are giving some recommendation, not as a part of our documentation, but when we are giving, okay, talking, so you tell, okay, no, we have a software. I know my Microsoft Purview is there, Veranesco is there, okay, security is there, or IBM, okay, even sometimes the range also, that okay, Microsoft Purview is only about, one license is only about $20 actually, and we are talking about, for example, main staff which is 500, so we are talking about one, for example, $10,000. So this gives you full that okay, that yes, this auditor knows about what is the solution also, rather than giving a general example. So these are the famous softwares which are providing, for example, data privacy, data protection, and plus the AI risk also. That okay, now we talk about any employee uploading, you are using, for example, chat GPT. Any employee is, for example, uploading a document, it will prevent, you can mention it, alert goes to manager or prevent. I said, no, you cannot actually upload any document actually. So Microsoft Purview has this feature that we can use, that okay, that you cannot be uploading any document in Copilot or in chat GPT or in any of the AI. Okay, and that observe, for example, whether you are putting okay confidential data or you're not putting, because otherwise one control administratively sharing, okay, talking about the policies and procedures, about okay, that this has to be done, AI policy, data policy, administrative thing, but then we need to have the preventive control. And the era in which we are, administrative controls are good but they are not sufficient. So we need to have the preventive control. Detective controls are also good. This helps in detect also, but prevention is the key control that we need to have. Okay, some of the example, this was taken from the website of the Microsoft Purview. They talk about the security, governance, and compliance. I've seen, because most of the our data we are using it in Microsoft platform. So this is one of the one which is highly recommended, economical, but there are other solutions as well. Now, within next 10 minutes, I will be talking about the practical example, and these are the things that I really love and I really like about it. We have, I think so, from the healthcare, and okay, these have been given taken from the IIA website, also, and from the IIA global advisories. Okay, some I have added from my experience and from different. Okay, so healthcare, okay, organizations contains take large volume of data. You know about it, a lot of genetic, okay, diagnostic information, they have it. Okay, now if you are doing the audit of the healthcare, even pharmaceutical or anything related to that also. And plus, look into one thing. When I said healthcare, it doesn't mention say about your hospital. You have a clinic within your office. You have a clinic within your manufacturing. Or we have one staff who is in the refinery. Okay, I am forgetting his name, but you must have your okay a clinic within the healthcare within your premises, and they might be keeping data for your employees. I've seen many banks, they have within one of the floor, they have a clinic for their employees. So even that is there. Okay, so inappropriate access rights of patient record. So how they are asking them? Okay, patient records being authorized. Okay, unauthorized disclosure to third parties, mainly the salesman persons. Okay, pharmaceuticals. Okay, is always some, they want to collect the data. Misconfigured electronic health record. This is one of the key thing, and one of the biggest hospital within the USA was being significantly compromised because of this. Okay, use of tracking technologies without appropriate consent. This is one of the key thing actually. You are using a lot of tracking technologies, for example, and this is not only for healthcare. For example, different apps are also their website. We have a cookies also. I still go in many websites, many corporate websites, and they don't ask for my cookies. I believe me sometimes, because and then I sometimes I feel bad that okay, why they're not asking me, and I really don't want my cookies and anything to be saved, and I really want to click this because I don't feel comfortable that okay, that they should be collecting. Otherwise, those cookies can collect everything about you actually, unless and until you are from incognito mode. But still from the incognito mode, they do check. My thing is that check from your website, your organization website. Anyone who is visiting your organization website, okay, do they ask that okay, whether opt in or opt out? Okay, and are they really, for them, opt in is there? So this is really like they're collecting data. Which document? Three fields has to be there. You can say opt in, customization, and then go to customization. You will find what things they can keep, what things they cannot keep, and the other one, don't. Mostly I try to do don't actually, to be very honest. But yes, where I want some information to be come to me. For example, I want my children's for education, and I want them. So just sometimes it really helps me actually. So I put opt in where I trust them. But many organization website, if you look into anything, it's not required to be a corporate personal website, or corporate has to be there for all actually. So these are the tracking technologies, and insufficient safeguard when sharing data for the research in healthcare. This is one of the key and the big problem. You are sharing data with the research, with the institutions. Okay, I am doing my PhD, and this is our ethics. Many of you have maybe a doctor or PhD, masters. Okay, Google forms, survey forms when we are filling it actually. Sometimes this is a biggest compromise of the information. Corporate wise also, if you're filling it for your corporate, take approval from the corporate actually. Don't fill anything that, yes, that okay, someone has sent to me because of the internal audit manager for Ali bin Ali organization, ABC organization. I'm filling it because I hold this position. So it has to be taken consent come from there. So what we do is usually as a part of the research, we found a lot of compromises are being happening actually over there. But we need to be very, because they are doing, we mentioned this is only for the research purpose. We will not keep your data, and they are all like false statement. We know they are all false statement. But from your side, you need to be very much aware of what you need to do, and take help from the compliance section, if your legal section, or from the HR, that whether we need to fill this or no. But yes, if this is general based on the other to do participate, this really help others to grow and understand and in the research. Okay, financial service. Okay, I should not be going into detail. Things are very common. Okay, misuse of transaction data for undisclosed purpose. I always says employees in the financial sector, okay, there can be fraud. The other thing is only curiosity. Within this healthcare service, I think so the example will come is also, the curiosity. One of this, okay, because this is also disclosed by the one of the hospital. I will not say the mention the hospital name or the country, but they had, out of curiosity, they want to know one employee, there was a celebrity and other one was a politician, famous person, and they want to know their medical treatment and record, and they access that actually, and somehow they shared it. That was something very bad to their wife, but they actually sent to someone else actually. Okay, like his wife, but they actually sent to someone else by mistake, and they didn't realize, and it got public somehow. So, but even how it was, okay, they had a legitimate, for example, that was, for example, a doctor. I'm just giving broadly. Doctor has a right to see the all the patients the access, but sometimes curiosity are this human behavior, so we have to control all of those things and as well. So financial service, okay, insufficient authentication control leading to account takeover. Still emerging, many of the frauds are happening based on the same, okay, WhatsApp account hacking, your banking account hacking, accounts happening, okay, all a lot, and they are always they do by the data that they have it. Okay, sometimes as I mentioned, okay, just take the CV in your CV, you will find your CNIC number. Easy. Now, what the easiest thing they can track, they can hack is your Easy Pass account or your other account, Jazz Cash account, because you have it, and other, okay, can be enabled. One thing that they know it by default actually. Now, the only other thing they need is OTP actually, which they have other mechanisms to take over. So that's why, okay, we need to intentionally sometimes information which is confidential, we don't need to put within our CVs or within other areas. Okay, plus other is, okay, insider abuse. Again, this is there a lot. Simple, sometimes people can simply take a picture, okay, and share it outside. Okay, problems are very heavy within our Asia region, and will not say within Asia, globally also. These things, financial services, we're not talking about only banks, okay, investment institute. Now we have fintech. So much big risks are there within the fintech. Okay, government, every government, they are trying to regulate the fintech in industry, that how they can be, okay, say, okay, that Umair has 1 million investment. Oh, okay, Umair has a 1 million investment. Okay, now this leads many things actually. Bilal has this much millions or billions of investment or this much shares. Okay, so these things are very confidential. Even the employee should not be based on the need to know basis. There are many systems within the fintech which really use, okay, that even if you're an employee, you cannot be able to see. Other example, I will, Bilal, I know you will wish, inshallah, you will have one day, and all of us. Okay, so but whatever we have, it has to be safe. It has to be properly safe. I'm talking about based on the those preventive system. Okay, the only thing that if the customer is there by themselves, for example, call center, I will give you one example. Person, they have the access. Now I have seen person such system which only mentioned that, okay, the customer, when the call comes from the registered number, okay, in the system after the verification, step by step verification. Some people are do. I have done the call center orders. You have done the call center order. Sometimes they by default they have everything, but the employee over a call center verifying you administrative control that you are the same person or no. But I've seen some call center in the system where even the employee don't have anything actually. When the call will come from the register number, okay, from the after the all the verification, then only he can only be to see only relevant information, not even all information. So we have such a kind of system. Once only you do the audit, okay, you look that walkthrough. That's why I always mention walkthroughs are very important for internal auditors. Okay, sit with them, look into the whole end-to-end cycle. Okay, from where the data is coming, transaction start to end. You will find a lot of ways where the data can be compromised. Okay, retail. Okay, so this is one of the another. I think so. We don't have anyone here in the retail, but in the end, not in a company, but we are like a customer of many retail. Where many apps are there. Okay, in terms of the rights, thing. The concern that yes, they do a lot of collect a lot of information for your e-commerce platform. Okay, or sometimes they do this for advertisement promotion, and this sometimes it helps us actually. Food Panda, Talaba, different. It helps us what you are okay using it, retail, any. I don't want to name that. It helps us in enhancing our experience. But the biggest issue it comes with their applications. Actually, they may track our browsing behavior, purchase historical issue, and different kind of things. So those of you having a retail, for example, and customer, okay, try to do an opt-out policy. I always says opt-out policy is the best policy actually. It saves you. Okay, because there are so many numbers, so many data that you are sharing with a lot of application and you even don't know. And that okay, where they are keeping, how they are keeping it actually to keep yourself self very safe. But if you are from the other side, you are doing the audit of those, you need to check okay that whether these data, how we are securing these data. Okay, are we sharing it with the others? Sharing is okay, is allowed. There are many agencies who are buying this data, it. Okay, some are okay doing it for unethical purpose, okay, doing it for dark web and other, but some are okay for research and purpose. You can collect the data actually, and everyone of us know this is very common worldwide. I will not even sometimes we say that this is only happening in Pakistan and Asia country. This is happening worldwide because data is the new oil. Those who are having a data in this number, so people buy it very significantly. Okay, so use it, try to, but this can compromise many things. So look into this retail, for example, non-transparent data collection practice is very common because this is within the retail banking side. By default, data collection, data processing is controlled inherently because this is bank, we're talking about money. But retail side inherent okay, risk is very high. So you have to look into what are the practice. Okay, sometimes we have seen okay very or broad or vague privacy notice. Insurance, sometimes there's always a problem that okay, insurance, there are so many policies are there which is over broad. Okay, now globally this is a law which is there for coming for the insurance companies as well, that your policy has to be not like 10 pages, okay, where people even cannot read in a very small font of 4, where a normal person even cannot read that. Okay, so this has to be very clearly told. Tell sharing of data with the advertisement network without proper consent is also one of the biggest risk, and we control our customer profiles and the payment information. There are two ways in which wherever I think so we all are very mature, but we still from the other side where we are the auditor, we need to ask from the company if you have a okay payment gateway. So what you are processing? Are you keeping the sensitive data, which is for example corporate card or other? Sometimes they say no, we have it but only the 4 digits and the last 5 digits. Even those are also very risky. Okay, so these things are a problem. But sometimes they keep everything. Sometimes they will simply say no, 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 this is because we are using fintech company. Wow. And okay, but how you ensure that a fintech company they are keeping all the things? Because people trust you, ABC store, okay, Mega Mart store or something retail or anything, but people trust you. You diverted the card and they might be compromised actually. So again, SOC report and others, you are very need to look into all of those things, because any incident happen will lead your customer loss billions, and you will not lose only one customer, you will lose, when I say billions, it's like all customers actually, your brand and everything will be. Public sector, now this is one of the very where we majority of us are there. The problem here with the public, we know that okay, we are talking about broad scale data, okay, personal data a lot for our administrative enforcing, you name it and you will find it. Public have okay, sector have the full data for the full population and everything. But the challenges are there, where the biggest challenge, which is still, even the IIA has, they have done a survey, the majority of the unfortunately companies, which are public listed companies even, or government companies, they are operating in a legacy system. For them to move to a one system to other system is a very huge investment. So many are there in a legacy system where they cannot implement a proper modern privacy and the security control within the system. But on the top second layer, there can be different kind of system, there can be different kind of mechanisms can be there, but this is only like can be. Are we verifying it as an auditor, that do they have, if we are talking about this thing, shadow IT, as Bilal has mentioned, is one of the another key things, that okay, you are using, okay, because you have this thing, you have made an excellent Excel, okay, with the macros having their own risk or other thing, and you are using that actually to process, because the key system doesn't have that feature actually. Okay, so that is many, okay, and people are doing amazing, software engineering with, and they are making their own systems, so known as the shadow IT. But within the data processing within that is secure or no? Majority of the find shadow IT has the biggest risk for data processing. I mean, that's why I've seen majority of the organization, they have a policy that yes, they will not use shadow IT, or if they have it, okay, they said okay, because sometimes it is beneficial to have, but controlled by the IT. They will have a control by the IT, and with a proper VPN, secured VPN, include everything, privacy controls. They will be allowed to use such kind of system, but it has to be governed from the IT. Okay, so these are the things. Industry wise, okay, this you might have within LinkedIn and others, you might be seeing this kind of examples daily. So nowadays, actually, so daily you will find something. But I really love these examples, and I usually go through even whenever I saw within the news or LinkedIn, because this tells you inside at what happened wrong actually about this. Social media, Facebook, very aware. Okay, this happened 2 years before this thing, that Facebook allowed third party, Cambridge Analytica, to harvest personal info data from 87 million users without their explicit consent for political profiling. You know this about this case. Everyone knows that, okay, that this was being compromised. They have been fined also for 5 million. But but they know, but the benefit they gained was more than the $5 billion actually. So they were fined that, okay, that yes, they made this move, because as I mentioned again, always, if anything is not free, okay, if anything is the free, so you are the product actually. So your information and everything is the product. Okay, credit reporting, Equifax, okay. So they were being hacked by the, okay, they were using Apache stress vulnerability. This was one of the vulnerability. So allow the hackers to steal customer data, and okay, many of the credit cards and customer was leaked and was being sold in the dark web actually. For many people were affected. Unfortunately, Marriott Hotel, international chain. But as I mentioned, because they are like public, very big. In every country they have it. They were using a Starboard reservation system. Okay, since of their acquisition, and for them to change is a very difficult task. And for all of us, why I'm saying, because we might be using within our corporate system, which is 10 years old, even I will say 5 years old. This is also like an old system, because are these systems taking care of all the modern risk or no? The answer you will find no. You do the penetration testing and ask an IT or consultant to do the penetration testing, you will find a lot of penetration testing. White box, black box, both are failed. Okay, so they were, okay, so 380 million guest record was compromised, and their guest, you can look into who can be their guest actually, and this data was sold like on a very expensive rate in different. So there are always a buyer for such kind of data, even and people. There was a time when people, many of the corporate businesses, they were not even using it actually. Okay, so okay, and then the healthcare. Okay, this was personal information. I discussed it. Okay, Uber. This was very famous, which happened actually. Uber developer left cloud credential exposed. We're talking about the cloud risk, allowing hackers to access customer data. And okay, and customer data was 55.7 million customer from different part of the world was exposed because of the cloud credentials. The data that they were saying, they have done in the many services which we are using as a cloud actually, and that was the problem with them. So okay, retail, okay, this was having, this is one of the thing, from the HVAC. This is our AC contractor actually, which is installing thing in our data center. Okay, so from there, okay, hacker were able to take credentials from the your contractor, third party. Okay, we talk about the cloud first, and we're talking about the third party. Okay, and a lot of payment card was been compromised. Okay, the same thing about similar happened in the Home Depot and the retail. Okay, banking sector, because of the firewall configuration, old system. Okay, they were able to use. Okay, Yahoo, we know it about this was the one of the biggest. Unfortunately, many people suffered. Okay, 3 billion user account were affected because okay they were using a very old and legacy C system actually for this. Sony Enterprise, British Airways was being also hijacked because of, and you mentioned it, Java script, SQL scripts, they are not safe because we might have a system which we are still running based on the legacy system. So there are a lot of now there are different levels are there. Samsung, which is very recently happened just this year, like Samsung engineers uploaded confidential semiconductor source code and internal meeting notes in the chat GPT. All the information confidential and which was unintentionally exposed, and this was leaked actually by someone else. What happened? Okay, this is now not happening now, but initially when the chat GPT recently launched, okay, so there were many things. If one person from the other side, for example, put the company revenue is this much and the company statement is not went public. You ask it, give me the annual revenue of ABC company, and the other guy might have put it actually maybe one day before. Maybe that can be an auditor, that can be a someone, and the ChatGPT will tell you actually. Now I have seen that yes, they are not doing this, but I'm not only asking about ChatGPT. Is the one thing, there are a lot of AIs are there. ChatGPT is one of the biggest. Okay, who are still looking into security controls, but others very small you look into, they are not actually. They are still, there are many even yesterday, but I don't feel comfortable. Okay, because this is not good to disclose on the information on a public platform. But as an auditor, we need to be very careful in using the information because this guy semiconductor for Samsung semiconductor source code was the best thing. And the source was what happened that there was a problem within the source code and they were rectifying, and they asked AI. ChatGPT to help me in the source code rectification, and the whole source code, any information, confidential, top confidential information was leaked publicly. So this is the thing. Multiple hospitals, we talk about the okay, patient's medical record, banks. Okay, simple thing is still many things where simply people are taking a picture of the statements, okay, and sending it outside. Right now, even I talk about there are some screens are there. I've seen even in the banks, okay, that you can have a system screen, okay, which a sensor or like we have a camera. Okay, so which always sees what I am doing actually. So there are different mechanisms. Whenever I can, I put like this, system will go blank actually. Anything up and down, there a broader aspect is there. So whenever they see that, okay, there's a thing, so you cannot, there's no possible. But human mind, if you want to do, you can simply note it is there. But what I have seen it, okay, that their preventive controls are being high, okay, which they are doing, which is a good sense actually. Okay, so some key takeaways. I think there are very less time for the question answer, but I'm really happy that many of the people are still there because when you are this like a webinar, a lot of distractions are there. So what I will say, main important thing, protecting data is the protecting business. In all of the audits, we need to implement the data protection policies, data protection, risk, particularly in every kind of audit, because in the end, this will really help you a lot, really help the business. Okay, because sometimes operations are very busy in their regular routine that they don't understand that they have the confidential data saving within them. So we talk about the WhatsApp, we talk about AI and different kind of things, the shadow IT. So key closing point, a very high level. Data privacy is a strategic and business risk. Thank you, Bilal. You mentioned this at the very early. Okay, so this is one of the things. So please don't consider this as an only IT person responsibility. Internal auditor should always provide an independent assurance within the RACI matrix. It was there that yes, internal auditor has to provide. If you have the skills, do it by yourself. You don't have, okay. First, I will say try to have this because this is something which is required, can be done. If not, you can always take a help of the external consultant. Stand alone and enable in all audit. I really focus enable it in all audits actually. Know your data as part of the internal audit, as part of the operations. Okay, like we need to know the data that being classified. Okay, so AI has created a lot of risk. Look into the AI risk. Okay, talk this thing, because I have seen many organizations, they are not talking about, many internal audit division, they are not talking the AI risk in the global platform within your company, board meetings, IT meeting, strategy meeting. Discuss this thing, because this is a very, big risk at the moment for all the organization. And one thing which I will say that, okay, implement the Reiki metrics. Okay, things not document, things are thing not done. Okay, so please, within your observations, give this recommendation to the management, and within the internal audit also you can implement the Reiki metrics. I always say start from your side. Actually, don't wait others, because people think that, okay, we are the best. And believe me, yes, based on the systematic, we are good and the best, because we work on a very systematic way. The first picture that I showed it to you. Okay, so we should be very mature enough from ourselves, so that whatever we are saying to others, people listen. Because I've seen sometimes people say, okay, look who is saying that statement, that they don't have this by themselves, they are saying to us. But no, we don't have, we know, or we are working on it. The best way to all of us to know have it. So thank you so much for all of you. Okay. So for your time, anything, I would now open it for any question answer session. Although we have taken a lot of time in this topic, it takes, literally, like, for me to summarize this everything in 2 hours was one of the a difficult task. But I hope I have addressed many of the things. So Mr. Bilal, over to you.
So, thank you very much, Umair. Thanks a lot for covering almost all aspects. आपने एक अच्छा flavor भी दिया, starting from what our role as internal auditors are. उस पे three lines model पे भी बात की. Then moving on towards defining the data privacy और फिर उसकी examples in covering it in the audit engagement से extremely important था. तो मैं again इसको I'd like to add on what you have said. Data privacy या data governance is not just covered in one audit. ये एक technical audit में वो generally we do cover it as a data governance का audit है. उसमें हम जो governance का model implement किया उसको देख लेंगे, या data privacy की या classification या privacy से related या tools को देख लेंगे. लेकिन the audits we conduct, especially as far as जो data की access rights हैं, access rights की review, they are also key enablers. Information security का audit है, information security या cyber security, that is also one of the key audits जो है वो जब आप सीम का रिव्यू करेंगे या सॉफ्ट की रिपोर्ट्स को रिव्यू करेंगे, और इन एवरी एस्पेक्ट जो भी टेक्निकल ऑडिट करते हैं, तो इट ऑल ट्रांसलेट्स मीन जब आप वो बेसलाइन कॉन्फ़िगरेशंस ही किसी सिस्टम की देखते हैं, टीएलएस एएस इंक्रिप्शंस वगैरह देखेंगे, या आप वो जो बिदत है वो टेलनेट वाला उसकी जो है ना वो देखेंगे कि वो भी अभी चल रही है कि नहीं चल रही, तो अगेन इट्स ऑल कंट्रीब्यूटिंग टुवर्ड्स प्रोटेक्टिंग द इंफॉर्मेशन. लेकिन हैविंग सेड दैट, आई शेयर्ड अ कोट, और वो मेरा पर्सनल कोट है कि जैसे एब्सोल्यूट एश्योरेंस जो है वो कभी अचीव नहीं की जा सकती, इसी तरह एब्सोल्यूट सिक्योरिटी भी कभी नहीं हो सकती. सो इवन इन्वेस्टिंग एज मच मनी एज पॉसिबल, स्टिल एक्सप्लॉइट्स आते हैं, स्टिल वनरेबिलिटीज जनरेट होती हैं. सो जैसे रिस्क असेसमेंट आइटरेटिव है, इट नेवर एंड्स. डेटा की जो सिक्योरिटी है या गवर्नेंस है, इट्स ऑल्सो आइटरेटिव, इट विल नेवर एंड. ये इसकी प्राइवेसी और सिक्योरिटी के ऊपर things will keep on coming, and we'll have to continuously go back to the drawing board and invest ourselves and try to find out the loophole or patches. तो आप अच्छे से अच्छा कर सकते हैं, but the maximum you can achieve is जो है वो a reasonable security, not absolute security. तो वो reasonable जो है वो is
Definitely.
something जो कि जो है ना achievable है, और उसी चीज को हम ऑडिटर्स भी जो है वो हमारा भी रोल यही है कि हम रीजनेबल एश्योरेंस को एटलीस्ट जो है वो रीजनेबल सिक्योरिटी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में जरूर असेस करें. आई हैव enabled द माइक फॉर एवरीवन. आप अपने आप को अनम्यूट कर सकते हैं, एंड यू कैन आस्क एनी क्वेश्चन दैट यू हैव इन योर माइंड रिगार्डिंग दिस session and presentation. Umair is here. Obviously, he'd love to answer your questions.
Yes, and I would love for those of you who can open your camera also, so this will be good interaction as well. And in the end, we can take a small picture as well.
I don't know when it depends on किस
Yeah,
हालात में है.
yeah, ऐसे होता है घर में सर, हम भी we are just lying on the bed
जी जी
and doing this.
जी
So
जी.
this happens. That's true, but that's like an internal forum. So please, so the good thing I have seen, there were so many questions on the chat as well, and time to time I was answering to that. बिकॉज वेबिनार को आई
हम्म
यूजली वांट टू हैव इट मोर इंटरेक्टिव। जब फिजिकली होता है तो आप यू कैन मैनेज इट एक्चुअली, बट
हम्म,
वेबिनार में यू हैव टू टेक द अटेंशन। सो आई ट्राइड
जी
माई
जी।
बेस्ट टू आंसर
नो
मोस्ट
नो
ऑफ द
यू डन,
क्वेश्चंस टू।
no no thank you to you, I mean you have done well. So please जो है वो the floor is open if anybody has any questions, please go ahead. Although मैंने काफी अच्छा summarize किया है, I mean have
Sometimes I
given
say question, yeah, yes. Any other thing
और
if you want to add, actually. I have seen many people have given good feedback as well,
जी जी।
sharing their experience.
सो अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट जो चीज आई थी वो दैट वाज जो है वो इट्स सम काइंड ऑफ एन एरिया जो कि जिसपे हम सब जो है ना वो परेशान होते हैं, दैट इज द क्लाउड प्रोवाइडर्स जो है वो द
Hmm.
बिगर क्लाउड प्रोवाइडर्स amazon, AWS हो गया, माइक्रोसॉफ्ट हो गया। at the end when we are entering into a services arrangement with them, we are basically entrusting them with our data. now वो data कहाँ पे रखते हैं, किधर प्लेस करते हैं वो, उसकी प्राइमरी क्या है, सेकेंडरी टर्शरी
Okay.
क्या है, किधर है, we are never aware and they never share it with us.
Yeah.
I mean we kind of like get the
No.
SLA from them कि ठीक है तुम्हारे पास 90 जो है ना पेंटा 9 अवेलेबिलिटी तुम्हारे पास होगी, लेकिन जो है वो
Hmm.
एट द एंड ऑफ द डे जो है वो वी आर काइंड ऑफ लाइक स्टक विद देम, I mean जो है वो।
Yeah,
तो
that's one of the biggest risk. आपने सही
हाँ
बोला इसको।
हाँ।
जैसे मेंशन कि हमें कभी भी वी कैन नॉट हैव 100% assurance or
हम्म
absolute assurance, but reasonable, even I would say, even if you're dealing with
हम्म,
Microsoft or Pentagon or anything, some questions, okay, if you ask them the location they will not tell, and ideally I think
जी
they
जी।
should not be telling the location, वो एक other
हम्म
एक risk है उनके लिए if they will be
हम्म
telling the location, but concern is more about कि हमें हमारे डाटा का एक्सेस हर टाइम पे ऑनलाइन ऑफलाइन
हम्म
समथिंग हैपेंस। Okay, so how
हम्म
this can be, but the most important thing within them that they are doing, sometimes they do it at an extra code, exclude agreement होता है आपका एक। तो आप उनसे कि भाई nowadays anything can happen, you know about the Iran war and okay things, कोई भी कुछ भी
हम्म
चीज़ है now nothing is stable actually। ओके, तो कभी भी इन केस ऑफ एनीथिंग हैपन तो एक्सक्लूसिव एग्रीमेंट के तहत कि हमें वो डाटा हमारा फिजिकली हमें हमें डाटा मिलेगा कि नहीं मिलेगा, तो देयर आर सम
हम्म,
क्वेश्चंस दैट यू नीड टू चेक विद देम। ओके,
हाँ।
कि किस तरह से, तो दैट आर वेरी क्वेश्चनिंग माइंड इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट।
ऐसे जी, स्पेशली एज फार एज विद द रिसेंट जो है वो मिडिल ईस्ट सिचुएशन, इनफैक्ट बेसिकली द वेस्ट एशियन सिचुएशन जो है वो, द करेक्ट नेम इज वेस्ट एशिया सिचुएशन, हैज रिजन सो मेनी न्यू लेवल ऑफ रिस्क जो है ना वो, डेटा सेंटर्स हिट हो रहे हैं एंड एवरीथिंग एंड ऑल। सो जो चीजें हम पहले कंसर्न नहीं समझते थे, दे हैव बिकम इंक्रीजली बिकम अ कंसर्न। सो इसके लिए वन ऑफ द इम्पोर्टेंट एलिमेंट्स, मीन जो जिस चीज का मैं सॉर्ट ऑफ जिसको कहता हूँ कि वी नीड एन इंडिजिनस क्लाउड सर्विस प्रोवाइडर इन पाकिस्तान विद प्लेंटी ऑफ डेटा सेंटर्स और इनफ कंप्यूट पावर के हम पाकिस्तान की नीड्स को जो है वो पूरा कर सकें। अदरवाइज we'll still have to trust and rely on other service providers outside of पाकिस्तान। तो अगेन जो है वो, या फिर अपना डेटा सेंटर बना लें अपनी जो है ना वो, एंड इट कम्स एट अ कॉस्ट। क्लाउड तो बेसिकली कॉस्ट बचाने के लिए है ना, क्योंकि डाटा रखेंगे तो फिर सॉक भी बनाएंगे, तो फिर सीम भी लगाएंगे, तो फिर DLP DR XDR भी लगाएंगे, तो मिलियंस ऑफ डॉलर वहां पे डाल देंगे। तो
$1 आपका वैसे खर्च होकर प्रॉफिट होने रहा,
जी
आपका
जी
एम्प्लॉयज के
जी,
बोनस
प्रॉफिट तो
मिल रहे हैं।
रोड होता है ना जब सिक्योरिटी कम्स एट अ कॉस्ट, इट इज नॉट
एग्जैक्टली,
फ्री।
हम
सो वी हैव
कंसर्न
अ
वही होता है।
क्वेश्चन। जी, सो वी हैव अ क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम
जी
मिस्टर इमरान, ही के वापडा फॉर एग्जांपल, व्हेन वी मीन टू से इज आइस्को हो गया, फेस्को लेस्को, ये जो डिस्कोस हैं जिसको जो बाद में वापडा, क्योंकि वापडा तो अकाउंटेबिलिटी, इसमें डेटा सिक्योरिटी कैसे होगी, व्हाट अबाउट द अकाउंटेबिलिटी इन केस ऑफ डेटा बीइंग स्टोलन ड्यू टू नेग्लिजेंस। So if you'd like to add something on it, otherwise मेरे पास भी कुछ है, I'll add afterwards,
नहीं
yeah,
नहीं,
tell me।
इसमें बिल्कुल, इसमें आई ऑलवेज मेंशन कि हम इसमें थॉट शेयरिंग कर रहे होते हैं, क्योंकि ऐसे कोई एक राइट आंसर और रॉन्ग आंसर, देयर इज नथिंग
हम्म
लाइक, देयर इज ऑलवेज समथिंग इन टर्म्स ऑफ, और ये पाकिस्तान में अगेन, नॉट ओनली पाकिस्तान, ये हर जगह देखा है जहाँ पे खासतौर पे गवर्नमेंट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, यहाँ पे सेट ऑफ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन काम कर रही होती हैं, तो इन टर्म्स ऑफ द डाटा अकाउंटेबिलिटी कोई ब्रीच होता है, क्योंकि देयर हैकर्स होते हैं समटाइम स्टेट स्पॉन्सर, मैंने बहुत सी एग्जांपल्स दी थी, मैंने इस मेंशन नहीं
हम्म
किया था, स्टेट स्पॉन्सर्स हैकर्स एक्चुअली, कि उनको वो चाहिए होता है कि यार वो दूसरे कंपनीज के, दूसरे कंट्रीज के जो गवर्नमेंट और पब्लिक सेक्टर जो होते हैं ना उनको हैक करते हैं वो। ठीक है, तो अब उसमें कोई ऐसा हो जाता है तो हु इज अकाउंटेबल, क्या हम खाली IT वालों को ही बोलेंगे कि वो अकाउंटेबल है, जो उनका हेड है हमारे पास, फॉर वापडा या नापरांस की भी हम बात कर रहे हैं, तो वो
हम्म।
एज पर मैं बात करूं मैं उस पर कि एज पर द आईआईए स्टैंडर्ड अकाउंटेबिलिटी दे वर्ड था उसमें A and R एक्चुअली। तो रिस्पॉन्सिबल
हम्म।
इस कैन बी आईटी डिपार्टमेंट अकाउंटेबिलिटी, दे वर वेरी स्पेसिफिक हु इज द चीफ
हम्म।
एक्चुअली। ओके, और जो
हम्म।
बोर्ड में बैठे हुए हैं आपके पास, तो अब ताकि वहां से आए। तो ओके, सो यस दैट इज द की थिंग कि यार रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी और अकाउंटेबिलिटी उनके पास आती है। बट समटाइम फॉर देम इट जस्ट लाइक वी विल बी डूइंग दिस, कि वो हाई लेवल गाइडेंस हो रही होती है। तो जो लोअर लेवल पे जो है ना, वो फिर एस्केलेट सही से हो रहा है कि नहीं हो रहा है, एज इंटरनल ऑडिटर वी नीड टू लुक इनटू कि अपर से मैसेज आया है जो वो सही से नीचे भी एस्केलेट हो रहा है कि नहीं हो रहा। ठीक है, कि वहाँ आपका बोर्ड बहुत कंसर्न है, मैंने बहुत से मिनट्स ऑफ मीटिंग बोर्ड के ऐसे देखे कि लाइक सिक्योरिटी शुड बी द फर्स्ट थिंग उसमें, लेकिन जब एक्चुअली में हम उसमें जाएं प्रोजेक्ट एवोल्यूशन चेकलिस्ट में जाएं, सिक्योरिटी उसमें है ही नहीं मतलब। तो ये भी कंसर्न होता है। अकाउंटेबिलिटी वाइज उनके पास है, लेकिन एग्जीक्यूशन किसको करना है, मैनेजमेंट को करना है। तो आई सेड इट ऑल, जिस पे जब ये बात है कि इंटरनल ऑडिटर, तो यस फॉर देम दे हैव टू बी कंसिडर एज अ कंसल्टेंट, कि उनको होना चाहिए एज अ पार्ट ऑफ दिस। यस, इंटरनल ऑडिटर टेक टू हैव लुक इनटू, कि उसकी भी मैं रिस्पॉन्सिबल नहीं कहूँगा, बट यस इनटू एक बहुत ज़्यादा उनका रोल है उसमें कि इंटरनल ऑडिटर्स को इस चीज़ को देखना चाहिए। बिकॉज किसी पे उंगली उठाना इज वन ऑफ द इजिएस्ट थिंग। मैं ऑलवेज मेंटल ऑडिटर को भी कहता हूँ ये चीज़, बट ऑलवेज मैं उंगली आप पे कर रहा हूँ तो तीन उंगली मेरी तरफ भी है इस टाइम पे। तो वेदर आपने अपना काम किया है कि नहीं किया। बट अकाउंटेबिलिटी वाइज टू आंसर इज दिस द बोर्ड। ओके, जो हमारे बोर्ड बैठे हैं, बोर्ड में मिनिस्टर्स हैं या जो भी, अकाउंटेबिलिटी गोज विद देम। बट ओवरऑल सबका उसमें एक अपना अपना हिस्सा है, और एवरीवन हैज टू टेक पार्ट ऑफ दैट।
Mm. So, you've rightly put, I mean, it has to be looked holistically. It's not just one person's fault. At the end of the day, हमारे पास इन द लेगेसी और द गवर्नमेंट ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस दोनों तरह का डेटा है। इट्स जो फाइल सिस्टम वाला डेटा भी है, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक डेटा भी है, और फॉर एग्जांपल एज फार एज ये डिस्क्लोजर कंसर्न, इसमें कंज्यूमर डाटा, अगेन पीआईआई डाटा इसके अंदर आ जाता है। तो एट एट वन पॉइंट जो है ना, वो somebody obviously it has to come, क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं तो वो ऐसे कॉर्पोरेट्स के फॉर्म पे नहीं चलती। सो इट हैज टू कम फ्रॉम द वेरी टॉप। गवर्नमेंट से ये चीज आने की जरूरत है, रियलाइजेशन, एक्सट्रीम हाई लेवल ऑफ रियलाइजेशन, इस डाटा, उसकी इंफॉर्मेशन की प्रोटेक्शन और इम्पोर्टेंस कितनी ज्यादा है। तो हैविंग द बेसिक कंट्रोल्स ऑन द प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ डाटा जो है ना, वो तो वो सिस्टम ही अगर प्रोटेक्टेड नहीं होगा, या अभी भी फॉक्सपो चला रहे होंगे बैठे हुए, तो फिर अनफॉर्चुनेटली एट द एंड ऑफ द डे वो तो एक आप ओपन पड़े हुए हैं कि कोई आए और आपको मारे और आप जो है ना एक्सपोज हो जाए। और बाकी अगेन जो है वो अगर आप ये देखेंगे तो ऑल ऑफ दीज डिस्कोर्स, ये सब के सब ने कस्टमर अपने फेसिंग कुछ अपने टर्मिनल्स वेब पे एक्सपोज किए होते हैं, तो वो एडिशनल रिस्क कैरी करते हैं। यू एंटर द रेफरेंस नंबर एंड you'll get the billing details and everything and all। तो आप वो अगर उस पे आपकी वो जो रिक्वायर्ड एसेंशियल्स हैं, वैफ शेफ एटसेट्रा, या आपको प्रॉपर फायरवॉल्स वगैरह होना, वो आपकी बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट होती हैं। वो अगेन उसके लिए जो है ना, वो एजुकेशन और अंडरस्टैंडिंग और की वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है इन माय व्यू। अवेयरनेस के ये भी एक रिस्क है और ये इंपॉर्टेंट है। और ये सब का सब वो ऐसा नहीं है, ये जमाना बदल चुका है। वह उसके लिए जो है वो अपडेटिंग द गाय सिटिंग इन द बोर्ड रूम इज एक्सट्रीमली इंपॉर्टेंट। कि जो स्टेट ओन एंटरप्राइजेज हैं, इनके बोर्ड कंपोजिशन में क्या लोग आईटी लिटरेट हैं, या ऐसे लिटरेट्स हैं जिनको पता भी है
एग्जैक्टली।
कि आज का जमाना क्या रिक्वायरमेंट्स रखता है। सो इट हैज टू कम फ्रॉम द वेरी टॉप एज वेल, एंड इट हैज टू बी replicated in every corner in the society, be that is the government, the public sector, or the private sector. So we have a question from Imran. As you said, we had to open our own data centers, so we do have the required resource for now, I believe. The required resource now, for instance, we have big issue like privacy. G, exactly, yes. I mean, so power or electricity is a bigger risk. हम बना रहे हैं पाकिस्तान में डेटा सेंटर्स बना रहे हैं। फॉर एग्जांपल मेरी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, वी हैव द पाकिस्तान फर्स्ट डिजाइन एंड कंस्ट्रक्शन सर्टिफाइड टीयर 3 डेटा सेंटर एज वेल। लेकिन अगेन इट कम्स एट अ कॉस्ट। पावर और जो है वो सिर्फ इट्स नॉट जस्ट पावर, लैंड है, उसकी एक्विजिशन, उसको मेंटेन करना, रन करना, उसकी सिक्योरिटी, उसकी प्रोटेक्शन, ऑल ऑफ दीज थिंग्स कम एट अ कॉस्ट। और इसमें लगने वाले रैक्स हैं वो पाकिस्तान से नहीं आते, सारा कुछ बाहर से आता है। तो उसकी मीन जो है ना, उसके एटीएस, उसके पैनल्स या उसके रेक्टिफायर्स ही वो बाहर से आएंगे। जो डीजी सेट बाहर से आ रहे होंगे, क्योंकि वो उस लेवल का डीजी सेट आपको रखना है जो कि ऑटोमेटिक फ्यूल ड्रॉ करे और सारा कुछ करे, वो बहुत बड़ा एक चैलेंज होता है। सो अगेन वी आर क्वाइट फार बिहाइंड आप, आई रिकमेंड यू लुक एट अ सर्वे के कितने गीगावाट आवर के जनरेशन रिक्वायर के जो है ना वो डेटा सेंटर्स हमारे नेबरिंग कंट्री में ऑपरेट कर रहे हैं और कितने हमारे पास हैं, सो आपको पता चलेगा हम कितने छोटे हैं।
हाईलाइट ट्रू।
तो दैट इज अ वेरी, और अभी हमने सबसे बड़ा जो डाटा सेंटर बनाया वो भी दुनिया के मुकाबले में छोटा सा बच्चा है। तो सो वी आर फार बिहाइंड इन दिस एरिया, इन
दे आर
डोमेन जो
वेरी
है।
फार बिहाइंड, दैट्स ट्रू।
हाँ, हम अभी भी वो डाटा सेंटर या आईटी में एक छोटा सा रैक लगा के वो समझते हैं कि वो हम पता नहीं कितने अच्छा हमने सर्वर लगा लिया हुआ। तो नहीं, आई मीन वी आर फार बिहाइंड दिस। डाटा फिशिंग अटैक्स ऑन ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस इन एम्प्लॉयज unknowingly provide access to hackers। हाँ, ये तो कॉमन है, फिशिंग तो। अ,
फिशिंग एंड दिस इज वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट
हाँ
थिंग एक्चुअली।
हाँ, ये तो
कैसी ऐसी
फिश
की
फ्रॉम।
रिपोर्ट भी आई थी पाकिस्तान में, सब जगहों पे
जी जी।
व्हाट्सएप पे भी इतने लिंक आ रहे होते हैं, कतर एयरवेज का आपका वो
हाँ
मिल जाएगा आपको, टिकट
हाँ
मिल
जी हाँ।
जाएगा आपको।
जी जी, फिश
तो
फ्रॉन है हम सारे वो। रात को अमीर होना चाहिए, दिन रातों में ओवरनाइट अमीर होने की ख्वाहिशात जो होती है ना वो इन चीजों में
वो
बहुत
exactly,
ज्यादा। सो दैट्स इम्पोर्टेंट, और अगेन इसके लिए द वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट इज एजुकेशन अवेयरनेस जो है वो। साइबर सिक्योरिटी आप जितने मर्जी अच्छे टूल्स लगा लें, आई मीन यू गो विद एज मच एज गुड काइंड ऑफ जो है ना वो प्रोटेक्शन टूल्स जो है ना, जितने मर्जी अच्छे सॉफ्टवेयर लगा लें, लेकिन अगर आपका एम्प्लॉय फिश प्रोन है ना तो फिर वो कॉम्प्रोमाइज हो गए आप एट द एंड
कॉम्प्रोमाइज हो
ऑफ द
जाता
डे।
है।
हाँ, आपने जितना मर्जी अच्छा लॉजिकल कंट्रोल लगा लिया, लेकिन अगर दरवाजे पे कुंडी नहीं लगी हुई तो चोर आ
सही
जाएगा।
बात है।
चोर आ
चोर आ
जाएगा
जाएगा।
वहां से, कुंडी तो लगनी चाहिए फिजिकल कंट्रोल्स।
एग्जैक्टली।
इन
दिस
केस ऑफ
हैपन,
के।
माइक्रोसॉफ्ट का साथ भी, जस्ट टू ऐड
हाँ।
के अभी रिसेंटली माइक्रोसॉफ्ट ने भी इसमें लॉन्च किया था कि अब
हम्म
माइक्रोसॉफ्ट में आए तो CR जो है लोग उसको स्पेस दे के या माइक्रोसॉफ्ट की ईमेल आईडी को हैक करने के लिए, तो
हम्म
उसमें CR को एन की तरह भी बिहेव करके वर्ड्स के करके प्रिटेंड लाइक पूरी लगेगी कि आपके साथ ये माइक्रोसॉफ्ट का है। तो दे
हम्म
आर वेरी स्मार्ट कि वो चाहते हैं
हम्म
कि जितने आप जितने भी एजुकेटेड हो जाएं, दे ट्राई
हम्म
टू लुक इनटू, और ऐसी ईमेल की टाइमिंग्स भी होते हैं, द टाइम वेयर यू आर
हम्म
फटीग एक्चुअली, आपको जल्दी में
हम्म
होते हैं या ओके आप उसमें आप उसमें,
हम्म
तो देयर इज अ साइकिल फॉर इट एक्चुअली। तो मैंने अपनी एक
हम्म।
बुक में भी इसको मैंने कवर किया था इसको कि ये हैकिंग के लिए देयर इज अदर थिंग, आपको पता है एथिकल हैकिंग एक्चुअली। सो
जी
दोस्त
जी,
हु हैव डन
एथिकल है।
एथिकल हैकिंग, तो आई हैव बीन कि उसमें ये सब चीज़ें और होती हैं कि आपको किस टाइम में किस तरीके से करना है हम, कि चलो ओके किसी अनएजुकेटेड को किस तरह से करना है और एजुकेटेड को किस तरह से करना है आपको।
जी
तो
जी,
दीज थिंग्स आर
ऐसे ही है।
अगेन देयर, बट जितना आपने बोला है अवेयरनेस इतनी ज़्यादा आती रहेगी
हम्म
कंपनीज के साथ ऑलवेज मेंशनिंग कि भाई हमारी ये ईमेल आईडी है, इसके अलावा कुछ भी नहीं है, स्पेसिफिकली लुक इनटू दिस, तो वो उसमें
हम्म।
देखते रहें, तो दैट इज द ओनली थिंग, अदरवाइज दिस विल रिमेन वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट रिस्क।
और सरप्राइज ड्रिल्स बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट होती हैं, ऑर्गेनाइजेशन खुद से जो है ना वो जो ड्रिल्स करती
वो
है,
ड्रिल्स करें
CS
बिल्कुल।
ड्रिल्स। ड्रिल्स इंपॉर्टेंट होती हैं। बड़ी बड़ी बड़े बड़े पढ़े 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 लिखे लोग जो है उन ड्रिल से जो है ना
बिल्कुल सही
बेवकूफ बन
बात है।
जाते हैं, सो इट्स
बन जाते हैं,
इम्पोर्टेंट के।
इट्स
एग्जैक्टली।
इम्पोर्टेंट।
कुतैबा, आपने बड़ा अच्छा पॉइंट रेस किया है के इलेक्ट्रिक का। के इलेक्ट्रिक अगेन इज अ डिफरेंट एग्जांपल, ये वो लेगेसी तो उसको नहीं कह सकते क्योंकि वो प्राइवेट हो गई थी, तो उन्होंने अपने कंट्रोल्स और इम्प्लीमेंटेशन बहुत अच्छी कर ली हुई है। यस जो है वो जितनी भी ऑब्वियसली SAP जो है वो उसके साथ अपना CRM उन्होंने अपना इंटरफेस के तौर पे डेवलप किया होता है। आई आई मेंशन्ड दैट वैफ और वो सारी चीजें एज एन एग्जांपल। आई एम नॉट स्पेसिफिकली पिन पॉइंटिंग लूप होल्स इन एनी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, आई जस्ट मेंशन के सब ने ये लिंक किया होता है और वहां पे जो है ना ये रिस्क एक्सपोजर होता है, खड़ा होता है। सो अंडरस्टैंडिंग इट और उसके ऊपर प्रिवेंशन कंट्रोल्स और वो इम्प्लीमेंट करना उसके सिस्टम्स, वो बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट है। आई मीन कैन नॉट लिव विदाउट एक्सपोजिंग सॉर्ट ऑफ नॉट कनेक्टिंग टू द डायरेक्ट कंज्यूमर्स, उनकी मजबूरी है करना है, और अगेन उसकी प्रोटेक्शन भी उसके साथ साथ बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। सो थैंक्स फॉर शेयरिंग दिस नॉलेज विद अस। आई मीन ऑब्वियसली ये बिलिंग इंटरफेस तो तकरीबन सबने सेपरेटली बनाए होते हैं, CRM भी कह देते हैं, उससे भी थ्रू बिलिंग मेंटेन कर लेते हैं, तो अगेन इट्स अ गुड नॉलेज फॉर अस एज वेल। और के इलेक्ट्रिक इज अ गुड एग्जांपल। I believe ke there are no further questions, and we are 17 minutes past our allocated time as well. Saturday को जो है वो आके ट्रेनिंग अटेंड करना is not an easy thing. Personal commitments हैं, but yes, as you rightfully pointed out कि जो है ना वो this is the time when people invest in their learning and upgrading themselves. So the majority of our problems come from within, और उसके लिए सबसे अच्छा है to look within ourselves and understand where do we need to patch up and where do we need to work. uh,
हम्म,
uh, Do we have any other training in the loop for internal audit? हम बिल्कुल करते रहते हैं. We did one last month. We'll have another one next month as well. यूट्यूब चैनल के ऊपर हम वीडियोस अपलोड कर देते हैं. वो जो चैनल है वो उसको उसका आई मीन उसकी इसमें कल इंशाल्लाह इस वीडियो को मैं अपलोड कर दूंगा, सो यू कैन वॉच द प्रीवियस वीडियोस एज वेल. अगेन इट्स ऑल फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट. Thanks a lot, Umair साहब. Really pleasure, nice talking to you, nice learning from you as well. आपने बहुत सारी चीजें कवर की इसके अंदर. From having an experience of conducting these audits and issuing these reports, और फिर बाद में इससे रिलेटेड एडवाइजरी करने के ऊपर भी फंसने में के ऊपर जो है ना एग्जांपल से जो है वो, क्योंकि एट द एंड अगर आप इस तरह की चीज पुश करते हैं तो फिर आप एडवाइजरी में फंस भी जाते हैं. तो सी एंडसन के यार तू तू ही हमारी हेल्प कर दे रहा है इसमें. तो अगेन जो है वो आई वैल्यू दिस असाइनमेंट वेरी मच, और दिस ये मेरे लिए काफी इंपॉर्टेंट भी था. थैंक्स अ लॉट फॉर स्पेंडिंग, थैंक्स टू एवरीवन फॉर स्पेयरिंग देयर टाइम एंड tagging along with us. Umair Saab, if you have any final parting thoughts, so otherwise we'll close the session.
No, again, as I mentioned, this is first of all, I will say like to thanks to you, the team, the platform that we are using. तो ये skills हमारे डेवलपमेंट की सबसे ज़्यादा important चीज़ होती है. तो again, I really clap for all of you for being here, for spending time. So you really are the one who are, who are choose to be, the best. So that's why you are still here. So again, I really say congratulations that you can keep it up, be yourself in the other webinars, seminar, trainings, or these really are helpful for our organizations first, okay, and then for ourselves both. So, and this is the only way where we can learn a lot from the practical experience of each other. Okay, and be always be engaged. Thanks to everyone who was very engaging. And again, thank you so much. Anytime when you want to be in contact, so with me, so you can have you. Most of you might be. I can already say many names are there who are in my LinkedIn, but you can approach me over WhatsApp and LinkedIn anytime, and I will be very happy to support you. Thank you so much.
So I'll share Umair's LinkedIn profile in the post as well. Group में भी share कर दूंगा. You can follow him and see for more updates, exciting updates. Thank you a lot for joining. अपना ख्याल रखें. अल्लाह हाफिज.
Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.